Hello, everybody, and welcome to the ASL Season 20 qualifiers. We are going to start off strong with Day 1 Group A. This video these qualifiers rather, will probably be broken into 4 different videos. It's a huge amount of StarCraft games as we try to cover, well, we will cover as much as is possible here. The qualifier maps are going to be Radion, Metropolis, and Polestar in that order. So every time you're seeing Radion, it's map 1, Metropolis map 2, Polestar map 3. That is a pretty darn good qualifier set. One of the more balanced sets I think that we've had in a long time. Metropolis is definitely a little bit weird, but Radion and Polestar are 2 of the best 4-player maps that we have. So definitely a very good, well-balanced map pool here for these qualifiers. Now, we are going to start in Group A of Day 1. It won't necessarily go like A, B, C, D, E, F, that type of thing, just because it kind of jumps around based on who's finishing their games when. But taking a look here in Group A, you can already see some very exciting things happening. First off, I had no idea that Larva was going to be playing in this ASL. You guys, of course, remember Larva from several years ago. He was an ASL champion and actually took out the player he's going to play here in the finals of that ASL for the title. And once he won that title, of course, Larva, he's still played Brood War, but he's more of a variety streamer nowadays. Hasn't put in that huge effort. So it's huge to see him trying to qualify here. And obviously doing really well. He took out Art User 2-0 and then took out Leda, who is a little bit of a Terran vs. Zerg specialist, 2-0 as well. Very, very strong. Leda, of course, we can see took out Absolute, who, you know, I've casted a ton of games of Absolute on this channel. Definitely one of the better players that we see. That has been like rising up, trying to do ASL, but hasn't been able to do it yet. Of course, then we have Quickly down in the lower bracket. Not sure who this is that he beat. But obviously beat him pretty quickly and went on to the next round. And then in the bottom part of this bracket, we have Hammer, who you might recall, this is who Scan ended up beating. I believe he was on STX back in the day, but a strong Terran player. Scan beat him last season, so he did make a final, so he is a strong player, but Mini was able to, of course, 2-0. Mini, is one of the most successful ASL players of all time, so no big surprise that he also 2-0'd quickly. And now we're going to have Larva versus Mini here for the very first match in the qualifiers. Don't think you can ask for better than that, so let's get it started. All right, so here we are on Radion, and we are going to be starting with the bottom right being Larva and the top right here being Mini. And yeah, you can't, again, have very much better than this. A former finals of the ASL, and in fact, I think that was one of the best finals that we've ever had. If you guys recall, Larva ended up beating Mini, what was it, 4-3? And the final map being cheese from both sides. So it was an awesome one. A lot of people so happy to see Larva win that championship. Of course, you know, he hasn't been anywhere near as active since then. But I'm excited to see that he's here in a finals. Like, he's obviously beaten some very strong players to get here. I would say, though, that Mini should be a little bit favored. You know, obviously, Mini is, again, one of the most accomplished players that there is in ASL. Like, this guy has been to the finals, is it 4 times? And he's a champion as well? Like, just ridiculous. You have to have a lot of respect for Mini and the way that he plays this game. You know, he actually has invented some of the most hated things that you can even come up with. Like, for instance, you know why everyone goes Nexus first, cross scout? That's literally Mini's. So, like, half of my problems in life come from strategies that he has popularized. Now, you might say that makes it a very good life, that's half of my problems, but trust me, it's not. So anyways, right now, Larva sending an Overlord up towards Mini's base. You can see that Mini is opening with a Gateway expansion, so he will be putting on some pressure with these Zealots, which is not a big surprise at all. Mini is excellent with those early game Zealots and putting that pressure on. Larva, in the meantime, has gone Hatchery first, going into that spawning pool as well. And yeah, he's just going ahead and scouting through with the drone. He sees that probe coming out, so we'll turn the drone around also. And of course, the way his Overlord is flying, he will be able to see the Zealot as it walks out. So no matter what, Mini will send this down towards that bottom right and start putting some pressure on. So, you know, it's a pretty normal opening. You guys have seen openings like this many, many, many times. So I do want to just take a moment and say thank you very much for tuning into ArtosisCasts. I hope that you enjoy these qualifier matches. This is one of my absolute favorite things that ever go on this channel. In fact, probably my favorite thing that we ever get to do here. I'm so happy that ASL has started to, after you know, it started last season on season 19. So after 18 seasons of not having qualifier clean feeds, we finally do have that. Now, you probably are screaming about that yellow dot. I just noticed it, and there you go. It's gone. Imagine if I leave that for the whole time. That would be something I would do. Yeah, but don't forget, I'm not observing these games. So, yeah, the observing should either be a lot worse or a lot better. Probably a lot better. But yeah, anyways, thank you for tuning in. Please hit that subscribe button, like the video, leave a comment, and enjoy today and the next few days as all these qualifier games come out. All right, so now we're going to get that pressure on. Mini has sent a couple Zealots to the side. He's going to go ahead and send them in now. Larva going to try to block this. He brings his Zerglings up for the little bit of a surround. Obviously, you can see that Mini does just kind of mathematically have a little bit of an edge. But as a couple more Zerglings come back, the Zealots can't hold off all of these. Brings in the probe as well. Ooh, I'm actually a little bit surprised. Like, Larva had an opportunity there to deal a lot of damage to that probe and maybe even pop it, but didn't quite get it. The probe gets out. The Zealot, of course, will not. A couple more Zealots come down while we have that Nexus going up in the natural expansion here for Mini. He is getting the gas and continuing to tech. Of course, Larva with that third base over to the right-hand side. He is going to send these Zealots back down there. We'll see if he actually hits that hatchery or once again just pulls the Zealots and then tries to go into the natural. Well, with the Overlord here seeing the Zealots, it looks like he will go after this hatch. And Larva's going to have to turn around those Zerglings, I think, isn't he? He's got 4 Zerglings going for a little bit of a counterattack. I will see what Mini has up there in a moment. Yeah, it seems like he just has enough here that it's not really an issue. This second Zealot's going to pop out, but a lot more Lings coming in. Oh my god, he actually loses control of that probe for a moment. The Zerglings get in with that speed upgrade and cancel a cannon. That is huge. Cancels a secondary cannon. Larva. Oh my gosh. It looks like he might sacrifice this hatch, though. Okay, a couple Zerglings going over to deal with that, but losing a hatchery, you have to deal a ton of damage to make that pay off. So I am a little bit nervous right now for Larva whether or not this is the right choice, because Mini generally ends up holding things like this. See, he actually did a great job there trapping that Zergling that was hitting the cannon, and now he's just going to flood in front of the gateway. If the cannon finishes, I give the edge to Mini here. Well, I guess it matters if that hatchery dies as well. Now, the cannon finishes up. Okay, it doesn't seem like you should be able to break through there. He'll probably send some probes back mining. Hydralisk speed on the way here for Larva. He took a ton of damage on that hatchery, but the hatchery is not dead yet. New gateway coming up here for Mini. Let's see if Larva has what it takes to put the damage on with the Hydralisk Rush. Now, we need to note that there's only 17 drones right now. That is not the number that you actually want for a 3-hatch Hydra Rush. You're looking more towards 22. So he's missing, you know, 25%, 30% of the drones that he needs to make this rush really, really successful. So there's not really a transition that's going to be coming out of this. This is about as all in as you can really get. But I don't think that there's another position for him to really play. Starting to hatch some of these Hydras. We have +1 on the way. Gas at the natural coming up. Of course, another cannon here from Mini while he makes that Corsair. The Corsair is likely to be exactly what scouts the fact that this is a Hydra all in. And the thing is, I think that this won't surprise Mini even a little bit. If you look at the way that this game has gone, this is not a game where you go, okay, well, the Zergling rush didn't work. I'll make drones. You know, you kind of expect this to continue in the trend of an all-in. So I think Mini's going to figure this out very quickly. Let's see when he sees the Hydra. Okay, he missed that one. Really good observing here to see, you know, whether or not he sees them. And okay, well, this is when you see it, is when the Hydras start hitting. So this is highly dangerous. There is definitely an opportunity here for a kill from Larva. Now, he's going to be able to take down the Forge really quickly. Obviously, that +1 was never, ever going to finish. And he brings the Zerglings up as well. The probe drill is legit here from Mini. He is really screwing everything up with these probes, but the Zerglings getting on top of these cannons. Mini trying to clear them with the Zealots, and the Zealots do a great job clearing them. Doesn't lose that cannon. Only 8 health left over there. Absolute insanity. And now he's trying to take off some of these overlords and maybe get a supply block onto Larva. That would be critical damage at this point. Larva in a very, very tough position. Does send a Hydra up to try to clear this. Gonna go ahead and break through the wall. Oh, that's too many cannons. There's no way. There is no way for him to break through here, but he has droned a little bit. Are we gonna see Larva attempt a transition out of this? It feels that way. Let's see. Oh, we just saw the drone counter go up once again. So that really points towards a transition coming. Like, if you're getting up above those 22 drones, you know, he was on 17 for most of the rush. Yeah, maybe he killed a few probes in there, but honestly, it was like mostly a couple buildings he killed. The rush didn't do the damage he was looking for. Nothing he's done so far has done the damage that he's looking for. And now with Mini getting a supply block by killing off an Overlord, the fact that he's rotating these Corsairs around, yeah, it looks like he's actually technically killed 2. This is looking worse and worse for Larva, who is throwing down a macro hatch. He's going to try to make something happen here. He has droned up a little bit, but the 45 workers here of Mini knows this type of position really, really well. There's no doubt in my mind that he's getting +1. He's getting Zealot legs in this Citadel. And he's just going to pop out the gateways. And with the amount of cannons he has, he's pretty darn safe. He can power up into these gateways really quickly, get those Zealots on the map, and it's just going to force Larva to keep making the Hydralisks. And while you eventually, I mean, if you're both just making, like, one guy's making Hydras and one guy's making Zealots, it's like, okay, well, eventually you do hit critical mass on the Hydras where they do start to beat the Zealots. But that's where Psystorm comes in and the consistent economy of Mini kicks in, right? Like, he is up still 20 workers. 51 workers across 2 bases is an extremely good economy. Like, he is mining at basically the maximum efficiency that he can get, which means that, you know, with this 500 plus gas, there's no question we're going to get High Templars trickling in as well, which is really going to punish this pure Hydralisk play that we're seeing out of Larva, which, of course, he doesn't have much of an option for. We see his layer has just finished, so maybe he goes into Lurker or maybe he goes into Spire. Those are the only choices here. Do you go into Lurkers and try to stop the Zealots this way, or do you go into, I think he was just getting Overlord speed if I caught that correctly, but, or do you go into a Spire here and try to snipe High Templars? Both are reasonable ideas. I think the Lurker play probably is, like, maybe slightly more likely to work, but we'll see here from Larva in a second. I haven't seen the Spire go down, so I think he agrees on that point at least. Another macro hatch coming up. Little forward group of Hydras out there. So he's got a group at the third, a group at the natural, and a forward group. The forward group, I think, is going to start poking and prodding and seeing what's what, see if they can maybe shave down a few units here and there, see the Zealot attacks coming in. And there is a Spire started now, and the Corsair catches it. This is a great thing about the way Mini plays. Like, he is doing such a good job checking and rechecking all the tech. You need to know if there's a possibility of that Spire coming up. Now, a Hydralisk attack coming up. Look at the amount of High Templars that we have here. He hasn't had to make Corsairs, so he's got a ton of gas for these High Templars. And as you can see, throws down a couple Storms. Not a ton of damage from them yet, but makes an Archon off of that. Look at that. Oh, very good Storm on the right. Nice Storm there in the center as well. Another Archon comes up, just adding some girth to his army. Continues to push forward, throws down some more Storms onto these Hydras. This has actually been like a really interesting engagement. You know, like, basically Mini switched into High Templars really, really, really quickly and didn't have that many Zealots. So he was super aggressive utilizing the Psystorms. Now, there is a little counterattack here with a Zealot, and a lot of production is going down. What was that, 7 gates up there? And I'm sure he'll add another 1 or possibly even 2 on 51 probes. You can definitely go 9 gate here. But yeah, he's going to continue to just kind of macro out. He's got those Archons, which are mostly just for tanking damage at this point. And I'm sure a few more High Templars because, again, he just has such a huge gas bank at this point. But he held off that first attack, which is important. Okay, so that is the 8th gate. He has a cannon going up in the main, so that's like an anti-muta cannon. And in fact, there are some mutas on the way. You know, I wonder, because like he came out, he very aggressively got those storms down. I think he just wanted to utilize the storms before making Archons that he felt like he needed. Anyways, he comes in, punching into this third base, but with the sunken and this many Hydras, he's not going to be able to do it, I don't think. This is yeah, do you see that targeting down? Really great targeting here from Larva, going after the Archons, picking those off, and then his mutas start to pop. But yeah, you wanted to go after the Archon before it was fully morphed, but he's actually got to kill the Zealots before they destroy his whole Hydra force. The Hydras are going to want to target down the Archon if possible, and you can see he is trying to target that. Archon getting very, very low. Already a bunch of Archons being picked off. You know, it feels like this has been a little bit wasteful from Mini, but definitely he's killed like a little bit. He's killed like all the Hydras. He knows that the mutas are out. He's put some pressure on that. So I think he's still okay. He does add that 9th gate we were talking about before. No big surprise seeing that. He's actually banked up minerals quite a bit at this point. He is obviously trying to get into some Dragoons. He's got to remake those High Templars as well. Going to be very, very important. But right now it's all about the mutas trying to snipe High Templars. Is he going to be able to do that? Yeah, it's hard to say. Like, he comes in, he's trying, and you can see the storms are magnificent, but he actually ends up killing all those High Templars. The Corsairs that were remaining definitely helped out a lot there as well. All right, now moving out with his main army. The High Templar count is greatly reduced. Greatly reduced here. So not as many storms as he was looking for. Like, we've seen a lot of High Templars go down, right? Like, 6 were made into Archons, 3 more were just picked off. So that's 9 less High Templars. Well, I mean, obviously you're never going to have 12 High Templars in an army like this. But yeah, I'm just throwing that out there. That is a lot of High Templars that have gone down. But his army just looks so much better than what Larva has. You know, Larva's spent a lot of money trying to finagle his way out of the splash damage, and it just really hasn't worked out for him as of yet. More Hydras coming out. The mutas are damaged, and they are going to be pulled back. Third base being made by Mini now. That +1 armor about to finish, so that's kind of nice as well. Definitely feels like Mini is about to hit a critical mass where he's going to be able to run through Larva. That's what it's looking like to me right now. All right, Larva doing a little counterattack at the third base. Not a bad idea, right? His other army is being chased. Hit this third base, cause a cancel. He is going to be able to cause a cancel, but he'll probably lose some of these Hydras due to storms. And as you can see, yeah, taking that damage. That, you know, canceling that third base is good, but it's not going to stop that critical mass I was talking about, where you're going to be able to run down and actually attack and probably just run through your opponent. So he's bringing this army down now, going towards the third base bridge. I mean, that is a little choke point where the Protoss isn't going to get great surface area, but the Hydras are going to be stormed a lot here, right? He's got 2 storms on each of these Hydras, or each of these High Templars at least. Starts to punch over. All right. Gets a couple storms down. Okay, that's an excellent storm there on the left. The Zealots in the front tanking most of this damage. A little flank coming up here as well. The Dragoons kind of being dumb and attacking the wrong stuff. But that's okay. GG is called, and Mini wins game 1. All right, we are going into game number 2 here on Metropolis. It's going to be cross-spawn here with Mini in the bottom right and Larva there in the top left. You know, that first game, Larva, he went for the mass speedlings. It didn't quite work. He went for the Hydra Bust. It didn't quite work. He went for the mutas. It worked a little bit, but Mini just consistently macroed up, and it was okay. Mini was very aggressively trading for Hydras, and just the critical mass really never hit. In a very good timing attack there at the end, despite losing a lot of High Templars. Mini was completely fine. So you can definitely see, you know, Larva had a lot of great ideas in there. No question, right? No question there. He definitely, he shot his shot. It just didn't end up working. And you would expect for Mini to be a bit stronger. Obviously, as I've mentioned, Larva still plays Brood War. He's still obviously very, very good. An ex-ASL champion. You're always going to be really, really good at Brood War. But Mini is just so much more active than him. And, you know, honestly, even back when Larva won the championship, like, he won it and it was super close. I did feel like Mini was, like, a little bit better than Larva, although he ended up losing that particular match. So, yeah, I don't know. I do have quite a bit of respect for Mini, even though he kind of plays in the way that I hate in general. I think the way he approaches the game is truly brilliant, smarter than what most people do. So, Yeah, anyways, he gets up here. He did go forage and send out 2 scouts. And as he gets up here and sees the drones, he knows it's a pool first. So the cannon rush that was potentially going to occur, since he had 2 probes out there and a forage being made, is not going to occur. He sent that second scout back home. He'll probably throw down a Nexus. And as you can see, he's just kind of delaying this and forces Larva to take 9 o'clock as his first base. Actually, a lot of damage being put onto this probe already, so that's going to be a little bit annoying for Mini, but he's like one of the best worker micros in the world, if not the best. Like, he is, like, it's ridiculous what he has done, but that was really good from Larva. Very good moving shot. Yeah, what you see there is from a pause that had happened. So whenever stuff jumps on screen like that. But now, I just talking about worker micro for a moment. You know, the moving shot that you see where like probes or drones just chase something down and kill it. The first time I saw it truly abused, I once saw a game between Mini and Light where Mini denied 3 different scouting SCVs and Light literally couldn't even get to his natural. It was the most insane stuff, and I'm like, okay, this is going to be broken one day. And I still think there's a possibility it's going to be broken one day. Although there is a little bit of counter micro that people are figuring out, but still, it's not. It's difficult. So to say the least, Mini is ridiculously good with those workers. Some other players really good with workers. I have to say, Speed has the best SCV chase micro I've ever seen. He is like, I've seen him actually kind of battle probes and drones. More often than anyone else, because occasionally you'll just kind of get lucky on the clicks and it'll work. But anyways, right now Mini is going to drill out of here. The 3 hatches have gone up here for Larva. Gas finishing for Mini. And again, looking pretty normal. Nothing too crazy, nothing out of the ordinary here. And yeah, Mini just has to keep that probe alive and continue to try to scout in. Oh, Larva going for that speed upgrade once again. I found that a little bit interesting, right? Like, you can definitely go speed and then go into layer, or go speed and, you know, it could even possibly be another type of Hydra Bust. It could be just a very, very aggressive Hydra Bust, or it could be like the range first Hydra Bust, which isn't that popular, but was popular. What is it now? 2 years ago, it picked up a little bit. Yeah, actually, it was about 2 years ago right now. Yeah, I'm remembering back. It's... Dude, Brood War is like... It's got such a long history now. It's sometimes hard to remember when certain metas were popular. But yeah, I'm remembering it was like late summer 2023, which is exactly, this is late summer, or getting to be late summer 2025. So yeah, it was about 2 years ago that we saw that Hydra range plus Zergling speed, like 6 ranged Hydras to break the wall and then mass Speedling to break through. Did get popular for a bit, but isn't really right now. But I do wonder what the speed is for. Is he just going to... I mean, you can always just try like a Ling Bust, or you could just go speed to very quickly deal with these Zealots while you go up to Spire. That's a normal thing, right? Well, not normal, but, you know, you get Zergling speed if you're going Spire is the normal part. But normally you go layer into that. Now, Hydralisk Den is on the way, as well as a macro hatch there. The probes saw those, and I have to believe he clicked on them. No layer being made as of yet. We are going to have these Zerglings come in and try to break through. Okay, yeah, that top Zealot was only fighting 1 for a moment, which was a little bit painful. And you can see, as efficient as Mini can really hope for there behind the mineral patches, killing quite a few Zerglings. Another Zealot did walk out, but it's going to be sent back. And already a Citadel coming up. That's kind of interesting. And that was Hydralisk Speed that we saw on the way. Clicked on that very quickly, but I think my eyes caught it. The Corsair going across the map right now. +1 attack, of course, on the way. Citadel should be getting legs, I would say. It doesn't feel like a game where I'd be like, oh, yeah, he should rush out a DT, but not necessarily a bad move when you're cross-spawn. If they do try some sort of bust, a DT might be able to save you in that situation. So the Corsair flying up. Single high. I actually didn't see that there. I think he might not have either. That was very well hidden under the Overlord. Not that it really makes much of a difference. I think that's just a random thing that happened at the rally. I don't think he was attempting to hide it under there. But anyways, Templar Archives, that is a very fast Templar Archive. So yeah, it looks like he probably will rush out a DT here. And we'll see if he gets anything done with that. Speedling's kind of poking down and just checking what's what. There's only a single cannon, but he's got enough Zealots to, you know, hold this up. Doesn't seem like anything's going to happen. The Speed Hydra is going to come down. Now, this is kind of a funny looking timing. There are pre-storm bust timings that occur. Is like, it just normally, I feel like this isn't the normal situation for them. But anyways, he is coming down, and you see him most, I think, against like a 2 Stargate Corsair type of situation. But this is like kind of a funny off timing on the Hydras. Notice he has 31 drones, so this is really not all in. This is just like kind of a pressure play and kind of a pre-storm bust timing. Now, the 3 Corsairs will eliminate an Overlord there. A couple more cannons coming up. The DT not going to finish in this gateway, so that's a little bit painful, unfortunately for him. +1 and Zealot legs are done. So he is going to get up here and actually be able to kill off some of these Hydras. So not too bad here for Mini. Does push that back really, really quickly. No big damage done. I guess just the fact that he doesn't have that DT that it felt like he was kind of rushing to. That's kind of the biggest thing that's happened in this game so far, I would say. But adding some more gates, still a very, very healthy probe count, up at 50 right now against the 35 drones. A better position for Larva this game than last. No question there. There's still obviously a ton of play here. It's very hard to say how this game will end up going. But yeah, this DT gonna push everything back a little bit. And of course, that's gonna put Larva on high alert for DTs possibly trying to sneak into his 3rd base. The natural almost never do you get anything sneaking in there. But the 3rd base is definitely a pretty common area. And there's 2 different ways in, too, which could be tricky. Now, the Corsairs fly up towards that natural. You can see the Hydras kind of splitting up a little bit here. He's trying to make sure that everything is going to be covered. DT's sitting in the center, and Mini just goes to set up a 3rd base. I kind of like that. I think this is not a bad idea. It doesn't feel like anything big has happened really on either side so far. Larva's macro definitely looking very, very strong, but as more High Templars come out, it's, that's where he's going to start countering what's going on here from Larva's side, because Larva's macro is very, very good this game. He has a ton of Hydralisks, and Storm is really going to be the big counter. Now, the split of this army is like, okay, so you have army at the 3rd base, which is up 2 ramps, so that's like a pretty good defensive position. But then your natural is pretty far back. It does have the 4 cannons rather to help defend, but you'd feel a little bit better if you had a more centralized army so that there was only one way into the 3rd base. And see, that's only a couple cannons and zealots. And so if you don't have splash damage there, like for instance, Larva could actually hit the 3rd base because all the storms are down here. And this is why I was saying the more forward position on Metropolis, where those bottom Hydras are going through right now. That little choke point, having units there is important. Oh, he does have a couple High Templars up here, but the flank is going to do a good job. Tries to storm there. That's an excellent dodge that we have coming down. The probe's drilling up, so he's actually getting a little bit sandwiched here. And with the Psy Storms, that could get bad. He actually splits really well, but doesn't get any more right there. All right, so seems like this 3rd base is in definitely a lot of trouble. He has very little meat up here. Brings up some more Zealots, though, which is important. And, yeah, we'll go ahead and hit some Storms. But the Hydras are starting to break through a little bit. It feels like this is actually going to break. He just doesn't quite have the army he needs. If he had 2 cannons right now, I would be feeling this defense and feeling like he's in a pretty good spot. The supply of Mini is getting pretty high, but it's like units that are being made in gateways right now for the most part. And as you can see, the Hydra's coming in from multiple positions. He's having to drill those drones back to home. And a lot of random units are being picked off. And in fact, like, you got to be careful. Like, there might be a moment where he can even attack into those 4 cannons if you bring up too many units up here. Now, a little egg wall being made. Yeah, this looks like it's going to be a break. Notice that Larva hasn't taken a 4th base, by the way. So, like, if Mini does end up holding this, it's going to be really, really good for him. But if he loses this base, the way that you beat things like these mass Hydras is building up High Templars over time. And as you can see, he's built a lot of High Templars, but he doesn't have the muscle to come up to actually kill the Hydras with actual units to save his 3rd. So, like, Mini still will maybe have a little bit of play here. Oh, God, he loses 2 High Templars there as well. Ugh. It's getting worse and worse for Mini right now. Imagine a world where Larva beats Mini and goes into the ASL right away, and Mini has to play day 2. I don't remember the last time Mini had to play day 2 of ASL qualifiers. That would be insane, though. We would have to really consider that Larva just has his number at that point. But yeah, this Nexus is going to end up falling. A lot of Dragoons have come out. This is a tough position. Oh, God, with all those Lurkers being morphed as well. He does have a Robo. He does have an Observer coming out, but, like, this does not look good. If Larva simply spreads his Lurkers, how do you end up dealing with this coming out of this choke on 2 base? Really seems like Larva has taken such a huge advantage. I don't really see a way out of this for Mini. When a contain like this goes up, Larva is on healthy drones. He hasn't taken any damage this game. He's taking a 4th base. He's rallying down really, really cleanly, right? Like, he'll do some drone rounds to get drones up at that 4th base. But other than that, he can mostly just get a few upgrades here and there and pump out more Hydras to come down and become Lurkers or just kind of support. And as long as Larva doesn't try to attack through that choke, I think he's good. Now, obviously, this army from Mini is quite strong. He's got 1/1 upgrades, a lot of ranged Dragoons. You know, he's got quite a few High Templars in there. But this is going to be a really difficult break. I think you're going to need to... The thing is, I'm sitting here, I'm like, oh, maybe if he gets 2 storms per, but he's nowhere near that. He's nowhere near that. And by the time he has that, imagine how many Lurkers and Hydras are going to be. This is going to be such a deep containment line. So here we go. Mini is going to try to break out here. Okay, he breaks the first few Lurkers pretty well, but notice how Larva just kind of waits for a moment for him to come up a little bit closer and then hits in the biggest concave he can possibly get. Reburrows some of these Lurkers, being very annoying, even hitting a pylon up there on the high ground. He tries to bring up the Scourge to pick off an Observer there. Not a bad idea. Scourge obviously very good against Observers. It takes 3 Dragoon hits to target down a Scourge. It's actually very difficult to do in the midst of battle. Comes up for an attack again, but just a great concave here from Larva. Comes in once again, very good storm in that incoming Lurker and Hydra army. So really, really good attempt at a breakout here. Does he have enough to actually finish it? There's no more Hydras yet. You can see on the mini-map, there's actually been a lot of units that Larva didn't send down that quickly. If these were already down there, I feel like this game would be over, but Mini is going to break this Lurker containment. Okay, Storm goes down on the incoming Hydras. Like, yeah, he might choose to attack just because he has so many. If he can kill this army one more time, like, that's... I mean, you're not going to be able to just remake this and then expand and be fine. Like, you need to kind of retain the core of the army that Mini has here on the right. So Larva attacking in, even has a drone up there, accidentally, no doubt. Going to move forward and start targeting down a lot of these Dragoons. And he does pick off quite a few, but the High Templars, for the most part, are going to be left, I think. Another great storm goes down. A lot of damage on those incoming Hydras. Okay. Trying to retake this 3rd base, but does he have a big enough standing army? And the thing is, yeah, this little area right there, that is like one of the most important areas to control on Metropolis, especially on your side of the map. You know, attacking down towards those cannons now, there's only a couple cannons left over, so it's not that big a deal, but still, people are averse to attacking into those defensive positions generally, even if they become weaker. Yeah, he's going to reset up this. This actually makes a lot of sense. You might be like, well, isn't he going to get flanked? Yeah, I guess. But, like, if he can reset this up, well, Mini's breaking out so quickly. He recognizes the threat that exists here. But if you can reset up that containment, then what you can do is just rally down more units and have enough to overwhelm the new base at 3 o'clock. But Mini breaks through that really quickly. Another group of Hydras came down from the rally points and actually forced a cancel there on that 3rd base. Mini fighting for his life here, but unable to do very much. Yeah, targeting down onto these Archons. We did see like a single Muta. I don't know if he's actually going to make anymore. I don't think he actually needs Mutas. I think just the pump of Lurker Hydra is fine. And as we just saw in those mineral patches, Mini is about out of money. Like, he simply has to have this base up. He has to get it mining immediately. It's been way too long. Up at 17 minutes. Anytime you're taking a third at 17 minutes, your opponent better have taken a lot of damage as well, or you're going to be in a terrible, terrible spot. So more lurkers pop out here. He's just going to go ahead and burrow them. There's no Psy Storms left, it seems. Just, you know, Zealot, Dragoon, and a random Archon in there. The third base with nothing at it. He's got to transfer his probes up. Yeah, it looks like he has transferred probes during all of that. Targeting down these lurkers is going to be critical. He's going to be able to get rid of those. And yeah, I mean, he can kind of fight these Hydras a little bit, but he can't come out into them. If they come into his concave, he has a bit of a chance with a storm or two. Yeah, picks off another High Templar. Okay, the writing's on the wall. This game is over. Larva moving in for the kill here. A pretty decent storm overall, but it doesn't matter. GG is called. Tied up 1-1. All right, we're going into game number 3. This will decide it. Who qualifies first here for the ASL through the ASL qualifiers, of course, other than the 4 seeds and Saber, who won ACS. Big congrats to Saber, by the way, on that. That's a huge victory for him. He's been playing out of his mind lately. But yeah, either Mini or Larva will be advancing to ASL here by winning Group A, and a very strong group. Group A is as well. You know, we already went over that bracket a little bit, so big congrats to whoever takes it. We're on Polestar here, of course, for Game 3, as we always will be. And I got to tell you, looking at the previous 2 games, there's really not much question in my mind that Mini is stronger than Larva right now. Larva did pull that game out, and good job to him. But, like, even when he gained reasonable advantages, Mini was fighting back pretty darn well and making it somewhat close. I do feel like Mini has that big advantage still. Now, this looks like it's going to be the gateway. Now, pool first here from Larva. It looks like that's an overpool. So, yeah. I mean, that's 2 of the most common builds. Pops up here with the probe to see if Larva's top left. And, of course, we'll identify immediately that he is. And then identify that it is an overpool opening. Overpool, of course, meaning Overlord, then pool. I didn't name these builds, no matter what Tasteless thinks, guys. It's just what they're called. By the way, this version of Polestar is a little bit different. As you can see, minerals on the ramp, and that's 16 minerals, so 2 mining runs, as opposed to the eggs. Vastly superior. The double eggs on ramps is the most jank thing for the unit movement ever. Like, I can't tell you how many games have been lost because you can't get stuff to go down a ramp with 2 eggs. It's so ridiculously hard. So definitely like that quite a bit. I think they changed just a little bit other things on the map, but that was one of the main changes, which I think is good. That should just, in general, even if it's mineral patches of 0, like a bunch of stacked zeros, so it just takes time. You don't necessarily have to go back and forth. That would be fine. Anything like that, you know, the double egg really it causes a lot of unit collision. And obviously you can eventually take them down, but in different matchups and different situations, it's tough. You need high damage units to take down eggs because they have 10 armor. So like if you're trying to kill them with Zerglings or Marines, for instance, very, very, very difficult. Whereas something like Dragoons or Siege Tanks or Lurkers, no problem. Anyways, this Zealot's coming out, and Larva's just kind of running around with some Zerglings. It looks like he's going to be able to maybe run in and run up this ramp. So this is going to be a little bit annoying for Mini. Oh, he's actually just going after the probe. That's a little bit annoying as well, but nothing on the ramp. The thing is, he's going to have to make a lot of Zerglings to deal with these incoming Zealots. But if he micros this right, like, there's more potential here for Larva. In fact, he already gets 2 probes, right? More potential for Larva. Dude, he's already gotten like 4 probes. That's insane. That's insane. Couple Lings being killed on this side. No drones as of yet. Okay, he actually targets down immediately the probe. Oh, I'm actually getting a little bit excited here for Larva. Oh, okay. Well, he does lose a drone there, and he's going to lose another one. Yep, that one goes down as well. Well, that is a lot of damage. He's down to 7 workers. See, that's the thing. There was potential here, but Mini is the one that is kind of doing it. It's much harder on the Zerg side, I would say, for the hold here. Like, Protoss has to basically make sure his Zerglings don't get hit, and then do a really nice surround on these zealots. And look, he's got like 7 lings here, 6 lings here. Oh man, this is really tough against that positioning. Yeah, he will be able to clean it up, but so low on drones. He has Zergling speed on the way. Okay, my prediction is he will just do a massive Zergling all in. I think you can read this pretty easily as many. You did enough damage to him. Don't forget, like, Protoss is making probes nonstop. So, like, yeah, I think an 8 drone mass speedling all in, try to break through the wall and just end this is the best chance Larva has. Beginning of that looked pretty good, but definitely got punished. Okay, he comes up, starts working on the gateway. You can see Mini's going to take this really seriously. Yeah, I was going to say he should pull down a few probes to block this entrance so that his zealots can pop out a little bit more. Because if the Zerglings break the gateway and get into the main base, the game actually turns on its head and he becomes reasonably likely of winning. So you've got to be careful. Okay, he blocks behind the gateway with the probes. Very, very important. This looks really similar to game 1 in a way. Now, the probes are just barely holding right now. He's targeting those down as best he can. Oh, he only gets 1 in as the cannons finish. Okay, look at the top right here. 18 probes to 8 drones. There's 1 Zergling in the main base. 1 Zergling is not scary. More Zerglings coming out. He's not even trying to make drones. Again, no big surprise there, but there's 2 cannons up and a new gateway. And these probes will just sit there forever trying to block this. And, I mean, all they need to do is buy time for you to get probes in to interfere against the Lings. This is a lot of Zerglings. There is still opportunity for Zerg to win this. All right, let's see. Gonna try to break through these probes. Mini is so fast at getting more probes down there. Absolutely ludicrous. He is blocking so well here. Now, the Lings come up, and he is trying to just break the actual cannons. Oh, he breaks both of the cannons. 4 Zerglings. There are more Zerglings on the way. He's down to 7 drones, by the way, because he did make a 3rd hatchery. So that economy is still terrible for Larva. His Lings have taken a lot of damage. It feels like he missed micro just a little bit during that. I feel like he could have had like 5 Lings left over instead of 3, which might have made a bit of a difference here. But comes over, he's trying to hit that cannon. Good blocking from Mini. Mini pulling so many probes up. Larva with so little left over here. More and more Lings coming. Oh my god. Oh my god. He's going to break this gateway again. Second gateway broken. Going after some of these probes, but with the zealot that's out there, with the probes surrounding the cannon, very hard to break through still. Does he try to break yet another gateway? He does. The thing is, guys, he doesn't have any options here. You can't start to drone. He needs more damage. Like, there's a world in which he does enough damage, but Mini still holds where he can drone. We are not there yet. We are not there yet. He simply has to keep making Lings and trying to make this work. Ooh, that would have been a heartbreaker. That would have been bad. All right, he's getting ready for another move. I feel like he just missed his optimal timing before it finished warping in. Okay, he's trying to hide the fact that he has all these Zerglings. Okay, brings 4 up to try to delay the probe. The thing is, in Mini's mind, there could be a world in which he thinks that there's some droning going on. Maybe he's, you know... Okay, here we go. This should decide the game right here. Okay, goes after that zealot immediately. God, there's so many probes blocking this right now. He's just got to keep those in front of that hole. The 2 cannons just absolutely destroying. Another zealot pops out. Oh, GG is called, and Mini goes into the ASL. All right, so next we're going to take a look at Group C. And Group C is going to be a finals match between Bisu and Paralyzed. But let's take a look really quickly first at what they went through to get here. So we don't have full information. I do apologize. The type of video that I was sent for this, the type of file last time, had a lot more in it from the ASL qualifiers, but they've changed how they've done it. So yeah, I am pulling some brackets from where I can get them, such as Liquipedia. So shout out to them. But yeah, you can see that Bisu here. I assume he beat Skay. I don't know who this guy is. Oh, Eugene. I don't know. I'm not sure. That name doesn't look familiar to me. But Skay is very, very strong. So a nice win from Bisu there. Looking down at the second bracket, Paralyze. I love it. I love to see it. We've casted so many countless Paralyze games here. So he took down Ivory, who's been in ASL before. And he took down Mind, who's a former ASL finalist and one of my favorite players of all time. Now, here's the thing. I love Mind so much. Like, he's one of my favorite players to watch to this day. He was my favorite back in the day when he was rising up. He's fantastic. But I'm not surprised that Paralyze is going to make it to the finals here. If you guys watch ArtosisCasts a lot, which I hope you do, and if you don't and you're just kind of tuning in for this, you should. We have so many great games there, and anyone who watches the channel a lot saw this coming. Paralyze beating someone like Mind, and obviously Ivory's good as well. Paralyze is like basically my number one Protoss pick to make it into ASL that hasn't made it yet, right? Like we saw Motive coming a long time away on the casting channel, ArtosisCast channel, and Paralyze we've seen like he's just played amazing games in every matchup. So very cool him going up against Bisu, but Bisu has some very good Protoss versus Protoss and a lot more experience. So I'm definitely leaning towards Bisu being able to take this. But either way, we'll cast it and we'll see. All right, here we go. In the bottom left, this is Paralyze. I hope they switch the colors on this. Come on. You can't tell me that I don't do better observing if they don't switch the colors on these players. These are almost exactly the same color. Bisu in the top right. Man, when Zealots are fighting each other, it's going to be really difficult to know who's winning that battle if we keep these colors. Anyways, Bisu versus Paralyze PvP. We're starting off here on Radion, is what it looks like. I sometimes have a hard time between Pulsar. I mean, it could be Game 3, but I'd be kind of surprised about that. Actually, this actually could be Game 3. That pylon placement, if you look at where the ramps... Oh, no, never mind. The ramps are actually in the same location on Radion and Polestar for these two positions. Okay, never mind. Anyways, we'll see here momentarily. But yeah, Bisu versus Paralyze here. Bisu is like... I actually thought Bisu was going to do a little bit better last season than he ended up doing. I think he underperformed as to what I think his level actually was after casting like 1 million of his games. Before the season started, like he was training really hard, harder than any other top pro. Of course, Paralyze always training really, really hard. In fact, these two used to be teammates, did you know? Both of them on SK Telecom back in the Kespa days. So I'm sure that they know each other reasonably well. Oh my gosh. And yeah, it's not Radion. It is, in fact, Polestar. So we're actually in game number 3. We are in game number 3. That is exciting. I would have loved to see the two previous games to see what type of styles these two are bringing here today. But yeah, again, you shouldn't be too surprised. Paralyze is just really, really good, and he's been getting into unbelievable shape. So yeah, let's see how this goes down. I tell you, like, I'm actually a little bit torn because Bisu is definitely one of my favorite Protoss players. I think he makes every ASL, every tournament he's in better. But Paralyze, like, has been working so hard and so deserves to be in ASL. He's a much higher level than a lot of players that make it in. Because the thing is, it's like playing under this much pressure changes how well you play. Like, there are players that are weaker that play better under pressure and players that are stronger that play worse under pressure. So, I mean, obviously there's the argument, well, that makes him better. But it's like, okay, well, if we're just looking at their base skills, like most of their games, most of your games are not in those high pressure situations, which obviously you need to master those. But the base skill of Paralyze is higher than the base skill of many players in ASL, I think. So, anyways, we'll see how this one goes in game number 3. He's 1 map away from qualifying, which is the closest that he's ever been. Bisu's sending that first Dragoon out. The thing is, you know that Bisu has ice through his veins. Like, this guy has won more big tournaments than Paralyze has ever played in. Like, it's so crazy. Oh, So both sides opening up with these Dragoons. The Dragoons just kind of popping out. You know, obviously they're a good way to keep the scouting probes away and everything. The probes have kind of evacuated their opponent's sides of the map. Robo coming up here for Bisu. Did we see yet the tech here for Paralyze? I don't think so. Dragoons just kind of scouting around. You know, Dragoons are so fast. They can kind of just outrun stuff. Like, if your opponent's Dragoons get close, they'll get a few moving shots off on you. So you do have to be a little bit careful about that. Nexus going up in the bottom left. So a quicker Nexus here for Paralyze against a quicker Robo for Bisu in cross spawns. So right now what we see is it seems to be like maybe a little bit safer play out of Bisu overall, and Paralyze maybe taking a small risk. He does have his own Robo started afterwards, and that position is specifically so Reavers can crawl down your ramp and defend against your opponent's attacks. And it's an observatory. Okay, so I got to break the news to you guys. This is a pretty big advantage for Paralyze. This is a pretty big advantage. Like, obviously, he's taking a little bit of a risk. Like, if Bisu happened to be going 3-gate range, you would probably just break him and win, right? But, like, you're kind of calculating what your opponent's going to do. And Bisu, being the overall better player, the more experienced player, he's kind of playing a safe game. He's going Observer into Nexus, whereas this is Nexus into Robo. And I don't know if he'll get Observer right away. I imagine he's going to rush up to Reaver, and he's just saying, yeah, if you went DTs, you win. But, like, yeah, we'll see that in a moment here for Paralyze. But this has always been something in PvP that I think is really important, is if you play the most standard safe way, okay, and he does go Observatory first, but if you play the most standard safe way, a weaker player who's taking a slight risk, a slight edge that they're trying to get, is going to be advantaged against you. Like, there have been a lot of times in both StarCraft 1 and StarCraft 2 where I've seen this and tried to point this out, where it's like, and it's specifically in PvP because it's a very kind of simple mirror in a lot of ways, where like you can just look at the build orders and tell who's ahead by a decent margin. You know, it's not obviously things like micro execution, some decision making, those things are going to be important and can change the outcome of the game, right? It's not just as simple as making a choice and winning, or you guys at home might be able to win against these guys. But like when you have two players of this level, it's like, okay, yeah, you look at this, like Paralyze has to be a bit happier with his build. He's got higher mining efficiency for a really, really long time. And yeah, Bisu actually has a very good probe count. And I'm not saying Bisu can't come back. You know, I don't want to act as if this is like game over, Paralyze wins. But he gave himself an opportunity to get ahead, and he is ahead right now. So the Observer going to poke in, and Bisu's going to see that he's slightly behind here. I'm sure he clicked on those mineral patches just to check, like, okay, how long has that been up? Okay. Yeah, Reaver Tech coming up. So, still a very playable position. Bisu actually does have a 2-probe advantage, which is kind of funny to see. But just the amount of time that we've had that additional mining going on for Paralyze can make a big difference. Like, if I had to guess, I would say Paralyze will probably get his additional gates up a little bit quicker. A lot of times when we're on 2-base like this against each other, it'll go up to, like, 6 gateways and a Robo producing pretty much nonstop. That's like kind of maxes out the PvP economy in 2-base versus 2-base. But Bisu has been very consistent on these probes. He's making the Reavers. I think as long as he doesn't attack, he's okay. If he attacks in, I could see that being a little bit of an issue. So Paralyze is coming up the map a little bit here. He does have just a slightly larger army right now. Reaver at home. Certainly going to charge up some Scarabs. And Bisu going to go ahead and throw down an additional gate. He actually gets his gates up quicker. That is interesting. So it's basically what we see here is Paralyze has kind of prioritized making units, which makes sense in a way. When you get that quicker Nexus, you're like, I can't miss a beat on my units. I got to make sure I have a big army. And Bisu has prioritized kind of getting his probe count up. So he got up to these 42 probes and has added those gateways. So he's kind of powered more, would be probably the best way to say it. Is Bisu powered a little bit more, whereas, you know, it was a little bit greedier opening here from Paralyze, but he has a big army. Obviously, all things are going to kind of stabilize somewhere in the middle, and they won't be that far off of each other. We can see that, you know, shuttle speed is done, so Bisu is looking for a little bit of damage here. Paralyze moving into the center. Has his own shuttle coming up. A couple of Dragoons going up here. Look at how much later those additional 2 gateways are. He's looking to catch his shuttle. Oh. Okay, gets a couple hits, but no hull damage or anything. Oh, he's looking to... Oh, he's trying to catch this. This row of Dragoons is so long. Oh, oh my gosh. All right, Bisu pulls back. Bisu pulls back. Does not lose that. Getting up to 4 gates on both sides. Paralyzed passing Bisu and probes now. Oh my god. Do not lose that, Bisu. Stressful. Yeah, you should be able to get through there. Maybe take 2 hits. Oh, no. Just 1. Okay, so he gets around with his shuttle. He's going to be able to get that home. That's important. You know, if you have 1 less Reaver or you're missing a shuttle, that definitely can change the outcome of the game. All right, so Paralyzed starts his push. Has a couple Reavers in there. There's only 1 Reaver in this shuttle for Bisu, but he has 1 back in his natural, I believe, in this other shuttle. So I think they're even as far as... Like, they're super even as far as units. And don't forget, we're closer to Bisu's base. So his reinforcements will be a little bit quicker. Now, he does have a big chunk of his Dragoons out in the front. Brings the others back here. Bisu's still flying around with his shuttle, man. Like, he's still looking for damage. He might get it. I almost wouldn't even expect him to still be out there with that. But hold on. Bisu actually... Okay, he has 2 Reavers in this other shuttle. So he's at 3 Reaver right now. He's going to blow up this pylon. That was actually a very dangerous moment. If Paralyze had collapsed on him instantly, I feel like there was some potential there to delete this army really quickly. Don't forget, a bunch of the Dragoons are back at home for Bisu here, as you can see. Paralyze is looking for a way in. There isn't one right now. Okay, Bisu trying to take a little bit of an engage here. He's got the double Reaver, but look at the size of the army of Paralyze. He's just roaming with a larger force, whereas Bisu has half his force at home. Paralyzed surrounding this army. He's going to be able to pick off absolutely everything with a lot of units left over. Killing the 2 Reavers is probably the most impactful part here. Just taking a look at the top right here, they're very close in probes. They're pretty close as far as the actual supply goes, which means, you know, we have 8 more army supply right now, or 10 more army supply right now for Paralyze. So obviously a little bit better, but again, the quality of that army supply is what matters most. And losing the 2 Reavers in the shuttle was probably, again, the most impactful part of that. The Reavers definitely give you the most opportunity to get things done. Now, Bisu taking 12 o'clock. Always something about Bisu. He's not afraid to expand. Even in questionable positions, he'll go ahead and try to get that expand up. Now, this is Paralyzed in the center. I know it can be a little bit hard with the colors, but Paralyzed is moving up right now. He's got the double shuttle with 3 Reavers. Here's a single shuttle with 2 Reavers. So he drops these out, tries to micro those Reavers on the side. Bisu right now, not getting the best Scarabs. Look at that. Oh my god, the micro here from Paralyzed is really good. He was moving for the Dragoons that were targeted by those Reavers. He predicted that perfectly. I just got chills from that. Really, really well done. And so does end up taking that battle into his own favor. You can see quite a few more Dragoons. Very likely that he'll get a cancel on this base, but Bisu is coming up and trying to stop that. He brings double Reaver up once again. Ooh, very good Scarabs right there. But now a Reaver drop into the natural. Bisu instantly runs the probes. Not losing too much as of yet, but still going for it. Gets about 3 probes with that. And now Bisu trying to break through here. If he saves this Nexus right now, that's huge. But some big Scarabs do go off on both sides. He picks off that Reaver right there of Paralyzed. His own Reaver taking some damage. He is going to ferry that to the high ground. Paralyzed coming in with a flank of Dragoons, but can't break it. We're watching some mastery from Bisu here, without question. Third base comes up for Paralyzed. Bisu's is finishing, though. He's going to get probes over there very soon. Probe count is in Paralyze's favor. Yeah, don't forget, there was that Reaver drop in the natural. He got 3-4 probes that we saw. Maybe it was a little bit more. Maybe Paralyze is just outproducing him a little bit on those probes as well. Still definitely a really close game, I would say. Bisu having this third base up quicker should allow him to really kind of fix the problems with his economy right now. That was a big hit. Okay, this other one will miss. This other one will. That one dudded. Don't worry, it didn't hurt the Dragoons. Okay, but that was a pretty good hit right there. 33 to 42. That's painful. Now, Paralyze is going to come back over, try to push up here once again. His own natural, by the way, is under attack. Like, a Reaver was definitely in there. There's no probes there right now. But it looks like, number-wise, he saved most of them. Going after this Nexus, this is a huge moment. Bisu is pushed into the corner. Bisu now trying to do his own counter Reaver drop. If he can kill a ton of probes, he can still be okay in this game. Okay, duds on that second one, but the first one does go through. Oh, yeah, Paralyzed thinks better of that. I think he should focus on killing those Dragoons off and just blocking the Reaver in his own base right now. I think those are the two really strong moves that he can make. So right now they're within 6 probes of each other, but there's an additional Nexus here for Paralyze. Paralyze comes back, pushes the Reavers of Bisu away. All right, dropping out in Bisu's natural once again. Oh, okay, a good Scarab there for sure. Yeah, it looks like he is going to be able to clear these Reavers now. Some good Scarabs, though. Okay, where are we at in the game? 7 worker advantage and about 8 supply advantage. So they're actually very, very close. Again, I want to count the actual Reaver count and just remember there's a third Nexus for Paralyze, even though he's not using it right now. It's there, so he can use it. Yeah, Bisu dives in with these once again. But you have to be careful. With these 2 Reavers over there, there is potential for Paralyze to push. He knows, like, Reavers are very mineral intensive. They're not a gas intensive unit. They're a mineral intensive unit. So when you're losing this many workers, it can be difficult to still have good splash damage. Feel like I just stepped into the ocean. It was really cold. You know, you jump into a pool and you're like, oh my gosh. That's the feeling that you get when you see that Reaver, that shuttle with 2 Reavers almost go down. That's like such a crucial piece on the board right now for Bisu. Now Paralyze trying to come in from the side, or Bisu trying to come in from the side, my bad. He's actually, so he's got 2 shuttles with Reavers, 2 Reavers in each, and he's poking both sides at the same time. Really high level stuff here from Bisu. So see, he's pushing with this one and he's just ready with the other one to dive in and hurt the probes at the third. Bisu is not making another Nexus right now. So he is actually trying to break through. No! Oh my God. That was so close. 11 health. That's 1 Dragoon hit from death. He almost just lost 2 Reavers. If he loses those, he's done. Like, you need these 4 Reavers. This is incredibly important. Okay, he's going to drop out all 4 Reavers. A death battery here. Now, his opponent, oh my God, he hits huge Scarabs onto those Reavers. Unbelievable. Bisu definitely in a bit of trouble there. So I think he's got 1 Reaver left, if I'm not mistaken. See, that one goes home. I think there's just 1 in the other shuttle. Yeah. See, those Scarabs were gigantic. He probably shouldn't have dropped those Reavers all in the same place. Did not micro well enough. Bisu now attacking this third base, making maybe his final attack. Okay, he picks off the Reaver. Very, very big moment. The Scarab actually having some bad pathing. There we go. With the unit dying, he is able to path in a little bit better. Unbelievably close game right now. Paralyzed, looking like he is going to lose that third base. Bisu making some magic. Whoo, Paralyze. Okay, Paralyze is up 9 workers, but about even in supply, which means his army is a bit smaller. Oh my gosh, this is a stressful game. Bisu starts his third Nexus again at 17 minutes. They're getting low on their mining, no question. Main patches are pretty much done. Paralyze has like just a little tiny bit. Natural patches are getting really low on both sides. We might get to a game where you have to be very careful about even utilizing Scarabs. Like, you won't want Scarabs to ever hit buildings, that type of thing. So at 15 minerals, man, when you're mining this little, it actually matters. Okay, Bisu pulls back into kind of a defensive position as Paralyze shoots forward. Paralyze rotating to the right. Bisu kind of mirroring. Oh! Paralyze almost flew his shuttle too far there. That could have been deadly. Sees those Reavers. Coming up into position. That Zealot might play a big point in this game. Okay, very good first Scarabs here from Bisu, but he doesn't have a lot of health on that shuttle, so it's kind of like a one-way trip. Okay, he does pick 1 up as his Dragoons come forward. Paralyzed with the 2 Reavers in the background. Actually doing a really good job keeping those alive. Unit count's getting incredibly low, but 2 Reavers left over in this speed shuttle. He's got to move up to this third base. Don't forget, Paralyzed made a third base here down at 6 o'clock. So, like, killing this third base is huge. He's going to dive into the natural. Oh, he sees these Dragoons coming, does think better of it, and turns around. Another shuttle coming up the map. Okay, third base for Bisu dies once again. Paralyzed up 8 workers. Up a little bit of army supply as well. Bisu patrolling around with that shuttle. "13 kills, 4 kills. Paralyzed in a very, or Bisu rather, in a very defensive position. Paralyzed has definitely been really active with his main army on the map, whereas Bisu's been more active with speed shuttles, I would say. You see Paralyzed, he keeps looking towards that mineral line. That's really heavily saturated. You get even one good scarab off there and Bisu's economy is done. He keeps on threatening it. He's really dictating how Bisu has to move. As long as he doesn't misclick, he's fine. Like, those can't be hit. Wow. Really high-level moves. Also, I do want to point out, this is one of Paralyze's big strong suits. He loves Speed Shuttle Reaver. He goes at, like, just about every game in Protoss vs. Protoss and Protoss vs. Terran. Oh! Huge catch right there. Bisu in a lot of trouble. The Dragoons coming down, surrounding Bisu's army a bit. Bisu, or I'm sorry, I said all those names backwards. Bisu surrounding Paralyzed army a bit. Oh man, the colors are really getting me. But yeah, Bisu is pulling back again into a defensive stance. Moves forward to remove some of these Reavers. Oh my god, misses that volley. A great pickup there from Paralyzed. And Bisu with almost nothing left over. Absolute madness. A ridiculously good PvP. A ridiculously good game. But Paralyze is on the brink of winning right now. And that does it. GG Paralyze makes it into his first ASL. All right, we are getting into Group D now, and we are going to be having a match between Soma and Hero, aka YSC, aka Tolbo. Taking a look at this bracket, obviously, again, sorry that it's not a bit more filled in, but all the big name pros are being shown. Liquipedia, of course, does a great job. But yeah, we're not sure who Tolbo beat on the way here. One thing to mention is he did beat, well, we know he beat Ample. And Ample has been #1 on the ladder lately. He's been playing amazingly. We've casted a ton of his games on the channel, so we knew that he was going to do well this season. Unfortunately, it looks like he won't get through day 1. He's going to have to try again on day 2. I'm kind of sad to see that. I really want to see Ample in this season. He's been working so hard. Some of the other players, 815 and Jeanhun played. Not sure who came up from that, but Ample is definitely better than both those players at the moment. Movie died to Soma, which if Movie ever beat Soma, I might have a heart attack. So I'm glad that that occurred. Movie's Protoss vs. Zerg is just nowhere near the level of Soma's Zerg versus Protoss. Okay, so this match coming up, Soma against Tolbo. That's kind of the ID that he uses a bit more recently. Soma is way better at this matchup than Tolbo. There's no question there. Like, it's night and day. Soma's in unbelievable shape. In fact, he's one of my 3 favorites to probably win this season, but he's got to get through this qualifier first. So without further ado, let's get into the Group D finals. All right, so here we go. The finals match here for Group D. We have Tolbo in the top right and Soma in the bottom left. I'll be honest with you guys, I would be completely shocked if Tolbo's able to take out Soma. Soma is in such good shape right now. You know, he was in military, but he was grinding hard even before he got out, and is in unbelievable shape. If you recall, before he went to military, Soma was definitely top 3 Zerg in the world. He made it to the finals before of ASL. He was a top 4 guy consistently. He was the strategic leader of Zerg, and Sulky kind of took over once Soma left. Actually, people were thinking Zerg was going to go into a dark age when Soma went to the military because he was such an important figure in the Zerg scene. Well, Sulky certainly made it, so it was the most dominant Zerg period that we've literally ever had for 2 years. But now Soma's back, and I'll be honest, like I said before, like Soma, he is one of the guys I think can win this season. It's like Sulky, Soma, maybe Hero, maybe Queen. You know, we'll have to see who ends up qualifying and everything. But Soma, like, if Soma and Sulky played, I'd probably give an edge to Soma. And obviously that's Zerg vs. Zerg, which is kind of Sulky's weakest matchup. But yeah, he is an unbelievably strong player. So the amount that he's favored against Tolbo should not be underestimated. Tolbo, I don't really like his play personally. You know, obviously he's very good. He's in ASL just about every season. But a lot of his games are like the flub games. Like, who can forget the nothing happening and him microing a shuttle and picking up 2 Reavers and flying into a missile turret when nothing was happening. And he literally lost a game that was 100% won. You watching would have won the game by doing nothing. And it was one of the biggest throws ever seen. Anyways, you know, Telbo, yeah, shouldn't underestimate him, but PVZ I don't think is his finest matchup either. So we'll see how this goes. Cross spawn here on Radeon. Probe gonna get in. A little bit of scouting going on. And, you know, a few lings going across the map against this Gateway expansion opener. And now we just wait for a little bit here while this gets going. You know, I hope you guys are enjoying the ASL qualifiers. Obviously, this is one of the best things that can ever be cast. One of the best things ever for the channel. So thank you for watching, and please do subscribe to ArtosisCasts. You know, I'm going on 5 years, I think it is, of like basically a cast every single day. Like there was a few, like when I got COVID, I missed like a week. But, you know, other than that and like 1 or 2 other times when I was really sick, basically it's just been nonstop. So we're on like thousands of games casted here. So, you know, a channel that I think you basically never run out of. And if anyone's actually watched all the games, let me know. I don't think that's the case. I would be really shocked if someone has watched every single video on this channel. That would be truly amazing. But yeah, anyways, please do subscribe, and thank you to those who have in the past and continue to watch. So as you see, Soma just kind of microing around a few lings, not really getting that much done, to be honest. It's like the Zealots like injured them. I would say it's actually a net negative for the most part for Soma. Not the thing is, it doesn't really matter all that much. He's taking a little bit of damage on those lings. I don't think that'll come into play, but Tolbo's kind of chasing them, pushing them out. Lings continue to be microed heavily. You can see that Soma is, well, you can look at the top right and see his APM over 400 right now. Like, Soma is super dialed in. He knows how important this is. He's already kind of rejoined the top scene since he got out of military. But Soma has, like, a big opportunity right now. Especially when you look at the way things have been going. Really, it's been like a Zerg tournament for a while. And the maps are much more... This is the most anti-Zerg map pool this season that really I think we've had. I can't think of a more anti-Zerg map pool that we've had in ASL before, and I think that they are specifically targeting Sulky not winning again. And Sulky has said he doesn't feel too confident in this season. But I do think that there is an opportunity here for Soma to have a ridiculously good result as kind of his coming back party. Not that he hasn't already done things. There's not a lot going on, so I just want to talk about Soma a little bit more for a moment here. But, like, for instance... Soma came back and he challenged Flash, and they played like, it was like a best of 5, I think it was. Or maybe it was a best of 7. I can't recall exactly, but I watched it, and Soma actually like 3-0'd or 4-0'd Flash. And Flash has been doing well. Like, Flash has been beating Sulky and stuff. Like, he's beating basically everyone right now. And no, he's not playing the season, he already said. I actually think he'll be back next season. But either way, yeah, Soma is in this stupid good shape, where like he really could make some big waves. Now, Corsair is coming out here for Tolbo as more lings go up and across. Gonna just see what he can find out with the Corsairs, and of course, as he gets down there, he will see that there is a Spire on the way. +1 Zealot legs going to be coming up here for Tolbo. Pretty consistent Corsair production as well. Another macro hatch comes up for Soma. Yeah, Citadel here just warping in still. And it don't, does he kill that? Yeah, I think he just barely gets that Overlord and then gets out of here. Pretty sure. The other Corsair is actually just looking for closer by Overlords, because you do have to be careful of when those Scourge are going to hatch and when you get out of here. Because if you end up losing even one Corsair early in the game, that sometimes does snowball into a defeat. Which Tolbo will definitely know about this. And in fact, he is going to find a second Overlord pretty far out of the map. This is borderline whether he can kill this, I think, and get home. Notice how Soma is sending some Scourge behind and some up ahead. What he's looking to do is chase these away with the Scourge and then catch one with the other Scourge out flanking. Now watch this, Micro. And Tolbo actually splits really well here. That was really well done. The way he kept curving this one down and the other one stayed in kind of a straight line. He actually anticipated what was going to happen very, very well there. Now, this one might end up dying still, but there are little juke moves. Even though the Scourge will eventually, on an endless map, catch the Corsairs, there are little juke moves you can do that glitch out the Scourge. And this can be done with any flying unit if they're just right-clicked. But Soma actually has the potential to just keep microing, too, by using move commands and then attack. Ooh, and he got it. Okay, so that's a good kill. That's a really strong first kill. But Tolbo has been non-stop in the Corsair. So his Corsair count is actually still very good. And this is going to be 6 mutas. So likely we'll see even more than 6, but not 100% necessarily. Like, sometimes you make the one extra one so that even if you lose one, you can still one-shot probes. But the numbers are basically like 5 or less, or more than 5. That's generally the case. It's like, because you need to have enough to one-shot probes, but yeah, having more can be... Okay, yeah, see, he's making even more now. So this is like a pretty dedicated Mutalisque opener. 100% flyer carapace is on the way for him. Now going to be flying up. All right, going after some of these probes. Maybe the High Templar as well. It's a huge kill if he gets it. And diving on top of these cannons. Yeah, the Corsairs do get turned around by those Scourge. Still kind of patrolling those a little bit. Oh, maybe a missed opportunity of catching that Corsair as it came out. Of course, he didn't know when that one was going to finish. The cannon's actually doing a reasonably good job here. The Scourge coming in now, and he gets it down to 3 Corsairs. Splitting his mutas up, he is going to lose at least a couple of these. Or he should. Tolbo actually a little bit off on the micro there. So he doesn't end up getting that kill. Some more cannons coming up as well. And now we'll see. Okay, it is Hydralisk production at home for the most part. Looks like maybe a few more mutas were made, or maybe those are the ones running home. So the switch into Mutalisks, I mean, sorry, yeah, the Carapace just finished. He did make a few more mutas. But the switch into Hydralisk that's coming, a lot of times what you're trying to do here is just hit a timing before they really have either Psystorm or enough High Templars to stop you. I don't know if he'll dive heavily on that or he'll just play more of a macro-esque game. We will see. But the muta's coming back up. Corsair is being microed pretty well there in front of the wall. Clearing the eggs and clearing the gate as well. Just making sure that he has a very good path to get out of his base. Definitely an important thing to look after. It's another pick off. Coming up with those Scourge. Ooh, and the mutas. All right, actually does get another one. Tolbo having a hard time keeping his Corsair count up. He has that Dragoon range on the way, so maybe just going to start pumping Dragoons, but that allows more sniping with the mutas. Right now, he's just kind of waiting for things to pop out of these gateways. If a High Templar comes out, that's a huge, huge kill. Only Zealots this time. Looking for that storm. He's trying to bait the storm as well. A little bit of back and forth here. Yeah, doesn't quite get it. All right, Zealots running across the map. Some Hydras coming up as well. Zealots are more on a retreating formation here. Muta's getting a little bit of extra damage down. Soma really, it feels like he's completely in control. If you look at this, it's 59 probes to 54 drones, and they're within 10 or 11 supply of each other. That's pretty Zerg dominant, especially with the 4th hatch just having finished. or the 4th base, rather. Obviously, he has more than 4 hatches. Going up to like 8 hatch right now, I think. Or 7 hatch. But yeah, this is like, you can just kind of see mechanically here, Soma has been outdoing Tolbo a bit. Now, Tolbo's not dead or anything, but the numbers are pointing towards Soma having a good advantage. Tolbo, though, has some things going for me. He has Dragoon range. He has 1-1 upgrades. Okay, very solid. Still has a few Corsairs here. The High Templar count, not that great. He does start that 3rd base. Ooh, that could have been a good snipe, but I think Soma looked away there. All right, going after one of these High Templar. Okay, well, it does end up storming itself. He might not have gotten it otherwise. And Tolbo just trying to chase down some of these mutas. I don't think we'll see any more mutas for a bit. I actually think there's enough Hydras here to just win this battle. There's just not going to be enough storms. Now, Tolbo is out here. He has 2 High Templar. Actually has 2 storms each, which isn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I thought we were going to have like 2 storms total. But throws down a couple storms. Those are okay. The left-hand side not going as well for him, but the Zealots tanking up a lot of damage. As you can see, his army's starting to evaporate a little bit. Yeah, these High Templars will be picked off. Just basic gateway units coming out right now. Soma on the attack move. Unbelievable amounts of units coming up. Look at that mini-map, and look at the amount of dark blue coming across the map. Just going to be an absolutely ridiculous rallied attack, and he is going to just destroy those Zealots and Dragoons. All right, getting on top of these Dragoons as well. GG is called, and Soma wins a dominating game 1. All right, getting into game number 2 here. Soma leads 1-0, and we are going into Metropolis, of course, for game number 2. Soma up in the top left, as you can see, and the bottom left here is Tolbo. There was not like a given moment where the game just slid towards Soma. It just felt like he kind of outplayed, right? Like he set the trap for the Corsairs, and then, kind of chased him home, did the little attack with the mutas, kept him busy, goes after High Templars a little bit, just macros steadily the whole time. And Tolbo just was not as well refined. He could not hold on there. So hopefully we see something a little bit better here out of Tolbo. I think there's still a good chance that he makes it into ASL, but again, I would be utterly surprised if he's able to take down Soma, one of the favorites of this season. So, this map, we did already have in these qualifiers at least one decent PVZ here, which was Larva Mini. And as I mentioned, that kind of forward position, if we get into a bigger macro game, is going to be really, really important, like right in front of here to the right. It's going to be really, really important to kind of hold on to that position so that you can't have Hydras wrapping around both sides while attacking. You need to hold as few positions as possible. This is like a really important concept, I think, as the defender, is how much area do you need to cover to defend? So if you're covering one small ramp and then one kind of decent choke, okay, you're going to be able to hold on against just about anything. But when you're kind of like defending, like, let's say right here where the gateway is, and then 2 ramps, suddenly it's like, oh, well, this is so much worse. And the speed with which your opponent can attack different locations is going to make it very, very difficult to defend. So I do hope that we get into a nice big macro game here. Would like to see, like, I actually quite enjoy Metropolis for PVZ. Like, I think it's a decent map on both sides. I think it's actually got really interesting terrain. I actually don't like it as much in the Terran matchups. And I mean, as a player, I definitely don't like it because I veto it. But like, as someone that watches / casts, I don't feel like it's all that interesting. It comes down to like very sharp timings in those matchups, because it just like the map is too gangly for the kind of slower Terran army, right? So PVZ feels like it hits a pretty good balance for the map overall. Just have to kind of see that area defended correctly. Now, the Zealot pressure is coming out. Tolbo going up the ramp here with a Zealot and a probe. And, ooh, already loses that probe. That's a... he's really not microing very well there. Now, 4 Lings also hitting the gate Oh, man, he's not even getting shots off with the Zealot. It's like just complete miss micro here from Tolbo. So he gets nothing done with the initial probe and Zealot. And it looks like he will lose this probe. Okay, ooh, that was a good drill, but still 2 get-ins. So that is a little bit annoying, but not necessarily the end of the world. We'll see what the micro looks like. Okay, well, not so good right there. Loses another probe. Everything's kind of spread out here a little bit. There are a few more Lings coming over, and in fact, Soma's made even more right now. We'll see what he ends up trying to play. Is he going to try to just run by? Okay, does take a couple hits there and backs up. More Lings coming. No way. Soma is turning on some serious aggression, similar to what we saw from Larva. I think because he already has the gateway so low, he's decided to do this. No cannon has started yet. Only 9 drones exist right now for Soma. And he is going to come up. All right, starts to attack into these zealots. The 4 zealots are being controlled pretty well. I think he's doing a reasonably good job here, but I think he does need to pull back a little bit and needs to pull some drones down. All right, tries to pull back the one very hurt zealot at this point. Definitely not looking very good. Soma deciding he is going to open up this wall, and that makes a lot of sense because there's no zealots. Where are the probes? Like, are we kidding here? You see that you're going to be broken. He doesn't even attempt to send the probes down. He doesn't even attempt to send the probes down. That is shocking. I don't even know what I'm looking at. Tolbo eliminated. Soma goes on. Well-deserved. Okay, we're going to get into the Group B finals here. Let's take a look at how this bracket went. So first off, up at the top, we had Spire. He goes by Sal sometimes as well, but that's by Spire. But he lost to Jung Jae-min. I don't know who that is, but that's pretty impressive. I'm going to guess that this is probably a Zerg, because I would be surprised if like a Protoss or a Terran that I don't recognize beat Spire in a tournament like this. Either way, maybe not. That player did end up losing to Sok, which is no big surprise. Sok has been a top 10 Terran for like a million years, and I've definitely heard him ranked as high as like 6 as far as the good Terran players go. Looking down at this next part of the bracket, Tishu. This guy used to be a League player, but actually is quite a strong Protoss these days. Loses to Xiao Shui, the Chinese Zerg. This is the best Chinese player right now. He's been beating Mihu a lot in the tournaments. And remember, he got a top 4 in ACS, which is huge. So taking out Tishu is not a huge surprise, but this here is. He 2-0s HM. HM just got second or third place in the ACS this season. Obviously, again, Xiao Shui made it into an ACS a season or 2 ago, which was a big deal. But that's a big win. Even though it's Zerg versus Zerg, HM is legit good. HM is one of the Zergs that I've been saying for, like, honestly, 6 years or so. Something like that. I've been saying he's very close to ASL, and he still is. So that's a big win for Xiao Shui. Xiao Shui loses to Sok. That's not a surprise at all. Sok is, like, an always ASL Terran. And looking at it stylistically, Xiao Shui, this guy is like one of the most aggro Zergs there are. Like, he's especially good at Zerg vs. Zerg and Zerg vs. Protoss because it benefits aggressive players so much. Terran is better against aggressive players, but especially Sok. Sok plays a very technical style. He's more likely to have a fast starport or a fast factory, and those types of styles can oftentimes stomp out a lot of Zerg cheese. So not a big surprise Sok made it to the finals side of this bracket. Definitely the strongest player here. Although I think HM Sok would have been a very close, very good match because HM plays a more standard style. Looking down here, we had Ying Ziyu. I've seen his ID, but I don't really know much about him. But it looks like he went up and played Hero. Hero won that, and Hero beat Tyson. Again, no big surprise. Hero is oftentimes, in my opinion, the second best player in the world. And he's definitely, like, always really high up there. He's the most consistent player in ASL history. He's been the top 4 more times than anyone. On the other side, we had Tyson take out Prime 2-1. That probably was a pretty interesting series. Tyson is actually legitimately very strong PvT. It's by far his best matchup, by far. And Prime is a very aggressive Terran. He's been one of these strong amateurs for years and years. Not a big surprise Tyson won, but Prime taking a game is a pretty good result. And then Tyson, of course, you would never expect him to beat Hero. Tyson is really, really a Protoss versus Terran expert. So we're going to go into Sock against Hero. That's a superb matchup. That's really, really good because Hero is one of the best macro Zergs overall. And Sock, again, has that very technical style. And the technical style really gives you a fighting chance, even though Hero I would 100% put as a better player than Sock overall. The style of Sock opens up some opportunities where you never know. Maybe a Vulture gets in and gets some kills. Maybe a Wraith or a quick drop does some damage, that type of thing. So I think this is going to be an excellent match and probably the best match of the day so far. So without talking about it anymore, let's get into the finals here of Group B. All right, so we are jumping into game number 2 here between Hero in the bottom right and Sock in the top left. We're on Metropolis, and right now Hero leads 1-0. Cross spawns here, so maybe a little bit more difficult for Sock to pull off whatever it is that he might have planned on this map. I will be a little bit interested to see what type of play he's going to open with. I'd be pretty darn surprised if he did something like a barracks expansion, because I think that just plays into Hero's strengths and away from Sock's strengths. So kind of hoping that we have a very technical build, and he will start at least with a wall-in. Of course, with the wall-in, when you see the wall-in like this, it's more likely to just be a straight-up expansion. But sometimes, you can do things like rush your gas right after the expand and go for something technical with that. And of course, there's a wide range of plays that Sock can do. I don't want to, I will actually say when someone only can do one thing. Because there are players that are like, no, I already know what he's going to do because that's his full range. That's not the case for Sock. Like, Sock absolutely can play just a standard bio play. He can go ahead and barracks expand and play Marine Medic Science Vessel. It's just, I don't think he can do it at the level that Hero will lose to it. Maybe pick up a win here and there, but definitely not anything regular. So that's why I kind of say, like, oh, I really want to see him play towards those strengths. I think it's incredibly important. So, so far, just to kind of review, guys, we have 2 Protosses and a Zerg making it through. Mini, Paralyze, and Soma. Already a great list of players. I'm so happy Paralyze made it. And, of course, we are waiting to see will Hero or Sock make it out of this group. Would be nice to get a Terran player in there, but Hero is, again, he is the most consistent player in ASL history. He's got, like, so many top 4s. It's madness. This is season 20 of ASL, and I forget the number, but Hero has something to the effect of, like, how many? I actually did look this up like a few months ago, and I can't remember now, but it's an ungodly amount. Like, it's something like over half the time he's in the round of 4, which doesn't even make sense. Like, how can anyone be that good? And he doesn't have a championship yet. We've mentioned in the past that, like, Best, Snow, and Hero are the 3 players that don't have championships that really, really should. Those are like the 3 players that have come so close. I think you can kind of add Rush to that as well. Because Rush has been like, he's had a ridiculous success in ASL, but no victories as of yet. Either way, the layer starts here at about 3:04, so a little bit more mineral heavy layer timing there for Hero. And notice that is a very fast gas behind. Now, just because the gas is that fast doesn't mean it's a factory. It actually looks like it's probably a +1 build from Sock. So that's as untechnical as you can really get. This is going to be like a very heavy Marine Medic. Now, I don't like this all that much. The reason why I think he's doing this here is to deny third bases. I can't see it doing anything else because there's no real chance of walking across the map and winning the game. But because of third base, like the furthest away third base that he could possibly take would be like a corner or maybe 3 o'clock or 6 o'clock. And the very fast +1 builds are basically designed to prevent those against Mutiling openers. But you do have to be very careful. There's like this tightrope block of denying the third base, but sending enough units that they can't just kill the units off, but not so many that you don't have enough to stop a counterattack. Because that kind of became the powerful thing people were doing against big dives on a third base. Like you dive on third base and then bring all their mutas and lings up and bust. If you have a bunker, they bust that. If not, they get on top of your barracks. And that's where it's like, okay, well, you killed a third base, but you took way more damage than they did. Like you're really far behind at that point. So we'll see if it comes down to something like that. You know, you can play the +1 builds in kind of a slower way where you're like, yeah, I'll get 1/1 reasonably quick. Maybe I won't make as many Marines. Maybe I'll go faster factory, that type of thing. I actually really like some of those builds, and we have seen those popping up. That's kind of like a Mihu special from a while ago that has been popping up occasionally. But this is going to be 4 racks for sure from Sock. Really, really well timed on that, too. He's nailed this build so far. So some Marines walking across the map. He's just forcing these sunks. He'll actually turn around. I'm surprised he's actually still walking forward. Okay, he just turned around. He even got to scout that that spire there as well. So everything going pretty well here for Sock. Range on the way. Third hatch is in the main base here for Hero, as you would expect in this type of situation. A little bit more rare to make third bases on any location well, it's honestly, it's been pretty rare for a while now. So, oh, that's a very, very quick Hydralisk Den. Now, what we might see here, and this is actually a pretty good counter to the very fast 4x +1 builds, is you basically start the Hydralisk Den right away and get the Lurker upgrade, and you have just enough mutas to keep them back because you have this little window where they're waiting for range +1 and about 20 Marines and about 4 to 5 medics. Once they have that much, that's like the critical mass where you start to really beat mutaling really well. But here it's like you're slowing them down, you're forcing some missile turrets, but what you're actually doing is rushing as quickly as you possibly can up to Lurkers to secure your base. And because this build generally has a much later factory than like a 3 racks opener with Academy, that can kind of set you ahead. So we see that right now Hero is sending a drone to the bottom left. The Muta's trying to be annoying here. He's only got a group of 5. This is tricky from Hero. Hero always has had some good tricks in his play. You have to give that to him. Okay, I just heard a scan. Not sure exactly where it was at. Picking off a single Marine here as it's walking out. Ooh, picks a medic too. Really not bad. Little group of lings coming down. There is the factory. Yeah, so it started before 7 minutes, so it's still a pretty good time factory. Not super fast, not super slow. Really, 7 minutes is going to be the latest that you ever really want your factory in this matchup. And the Lurker upgrade already finishing. So we're going to have Lurkers in position. That's kind of painful for Sock. I just don't see him getting any sort of damage done here. So a couple Lurker eggs being morphed. Going to be sent down to that bottom left. Of course, some at the home base as well. And really, that's what you were looking for. I definitely have to say that Hero has out-opened Sock in this game. Little Ling counterattack gets denied by the rally of Marines. Ooh, I think we have hold position Lurker going on. Double starport comes up. Kind of excited about this double hold position Lurker. If you mess this up at all, the game could just swing wildly towards Sock. Like, that's where, like, let's say he either misses the shot or somehow Sock walks around or somehow Sock intuits it's there and scans. Then the bottom left dies and Sock is way, way ahead at that point. Whereas if you just put this on top of the ramp, he just won't try to enter. Like, he'll take one spine hit, back up, and be like, okay, yeah, we'll go some other way. Okay, but here it is, here it is, here it is. Ooh, very, very good. Kills an entire group, including the medics there. Really well done. Evolution Chamber on the way. Hive on the way. Lurkers pull back into that more defensive location on top of the ramp. +1 armor almost done. Has double add-ons coming up. 6 racks. Or maybe that was 5. Look at this tough position that Sock is in. And it's not just the hold position lurker. It's also he chose to do a +1 build, was unable to apply pressure. The fast lurkers shut it down. You look at all of this together, and it's 47 workers against 42. That is not a good sign for Sock. Hero is really a master of these macro games. I tell you, I play and watch a lot of games that look like this, and it's a very tough situation for the Terran player. You don't have much of a window to do anything. You can see here that it is going to be a very fast double dropship play. And these are some of the widest open main bases that we really have in any map. So at least there's that. Like, he might find a good area for a drop. Yeah, stimming up to kill an Overlord. Kind of interesting that he chose to utilize a scan on that when he's about to do a drop. Is he waiting for the science vessels? It kind of feels that way, unless he's going for dropship. Okay, this is actually really, really smart from Sock. You can tell that this guy knows how to win a game. Like, he's looking at this and saying, okay, nothing has worked this game. Hero's kind of outplaying me. But I'm not dead. So, you know what? Load up 4 dropships. For a long time, this was the #1 way to kill a Zerg better than you. So many Terrans got so many, like, very free-looking wins from moves like this. Oh, God. Oh, no. Oh, he doesn't utilize it. That's crazy. And now he sees the 4 dropship. Sock has been trying his best to keep that hidden. Let's see. Okay, 2 Scourge going to kill the first one. Oh, is he going to get another one here? And there's 2 lurkers here. Okay, kills another dropship off. And everything getting just completely slaughtered. There is not a chance in the world that this drop does enough damage. Okay, Hero has lapped Sock. I do not think... I think that you could give the controls right now to Flash and Light working perfectly in tandem with each other. And they would have no chance of beating Hero from here. The drone count is not as high as you would like it, I guess, right now. He did maybe lose a couple, or maybe he was making a few buildings there as well. But Sock has nothing going on. He's made some more dropships. The dropships... Well, he's made so many dropships this game, but they aren't going to do anything now that you've shown them. Irradiate super, super late. Hero has just been building up to exactly what he wants to build up to. He's on a higher supply than his opponent, so... It's going to be easy for him to come out and take a 4th base, even a 5th base. Look at this. Trying to hide his own 4th in the top right, and Hero instantly finds it and forces a cancel. More macro hatches coming up. Just an absolutely terrible position for our Terran player. Woo. All right, good save. I'm holding my breath there watching the Scourge going. So funny. It's like I'm supposed to be commentating, but I'm like, is it gonna hit? Is it gonna hit? You never know. How is he gonna click it? Oh, so it looks like he purposefully put that SCV back there. He might want things to clump up. Like, you only do that normally for flying units, and you shouldn't want your vessels to clump because Plague becomes stronger. Okay. As you can see, Plague hits every single unit he has out on the map. 4th base is coming up for Hero. A lot of scans coming down for Sock. Whatever it is that he's looking for, whether he found it or not, it's just... The numbers are not looking good. They're definitely not in his favor at the moment. So a little drop coming up. Has some fire bats in there as well. Denying that 4th best would be a big step in the right direction for this game for Sock. Not denying it is pretty much guaranteed death. 2-2 upgrades are done, so that's actually really, really good. That's superb upgrades for 13, almost 14 minutes into the game. So that is, I guess, one thing. Look at that. Oh my god, he's up 3 upgrades right now. So the problem right now really is Plague and Dark Swarm, where these upgrades don't matter nearly as much. But maybe if you pump out a lot of fire bats here, you might surprisingly break a position that you would not otherwise. Because he doesn't really have anywhere near enough irradiates to just run up and break positions. But we've seen from some of the newer Terran players, like Bishop really comes to mind, some of these Firebat meta type plays where you get into a game that's around this time and then you're like 8 Firebats. And then the Firebats come up and you look at a position, you're like, there's only 2 lurkers there. And bam, you break it and the base is dead. Those types of moves, I think the value of those moves are going to increase. You need to almost put that additional pressure on that you have enough Firebats to break these positions to make sure that they are not skimping on lurkers and things like that. So right now, Ling Defiler coming out. Looks like he probably just wants to get... Yeah, well, he throws on a Darkstorm there, but I think he actually wants a Plague. Plague is how you actually gain value. And there it is. Plague goes down on the army. Sock pulling back. Or Bach. Yeah, the Spore up right now to stop Plagued Vessels from coming up for Irradiates. Ooh, very good. Clones a couple of those off, so does hit 2 of those 3 stacked lurkers. Another pick off. Can't quite get any more. All right, the Firebat count is definitely growing. He actually, 4 or 5 Firebats here with 2/2 could potentially break through here. That's only 1 lurker in the stack as far as I know. It definitely was before, unless he just happened to do one while we were looking elsewhere, but I don't think he did. So if he could bring all of his Firebats to bear right now, like, this base becomes quite breakable. Yeah, see? Okay, so it was just 1, but through the night has come 2 more. Okay, tries to send a few of the Marines and Firebats up to hit the drones behind here, but really a good Darkstorm there as well, protecting most of the economy. More Lings coming out through that Darkstorm. Yeah, pulls these Marines back, but those will get cleaned up as well. That supply just continues to grow here for Hero. So, to put this into perspective, if right now the supply was 200, 200 for Sock on 4 bases, and for Hero it was 120 on these 4 bases, we would look at that position and say, okay, maybe slight edge Sock. It kind of matters, like the standing armies, the upgrades, things like that. Like, do you have a lot of air units as Sock? Okay, maybe you can do it. Okay, yeah, he has a pretty healthy amount of vessels, so that's for sure. But in this type of position where they're really, really close in that supply and Sock doesn't have that extra base, things are going to start going wrong. Well, I guess things already have gone wrong to a certain extent, where he just hasn't really gotten damage. He hasn't really denied bases, and that's what he was going for. Base denial is one of the big ways to win this matchup. Sure, sometimes you get the break, but a lot of times it's just denying bases. So these Irradiated Ultras just standing underneath the Darkstorm, unable to take any damage. At least they are irradiated. And in fact, they do come out a little bit and take that extra damage to go down. Going to take out that Spore, which will allow a little bit more play with the vessels. Or maybe not. Yeah, more units coming down. Lings hatching just by the dozens right now. Well, it's going from bad to worse. You can see Sock's supply falls pretty dramatically. He is starting to get into some battlecruiser production. Looks like, yeah, 3-port battlecruisers. So that's actually really nice against this type of play. But it does feel, again, a little bit late. Now, can he maybe pair this up? Because he has a good science vessel count. So let's say he sends 3 battlecruisers out, brings 3 dropships behind, and then hits some good irradiates on Defilers. You put all that together, it's like, oh, okay, I could see him busting one of these bases. Because that's kind of where we're at. Is I think he does need to bust a base relatively soon, because his full, like, forward standing army is not all that big anymore, which means that the Ultralist based army will start to break through. And as soon as Zerg gains map control with both Ultras and with Defilers, like, they just show up and the base is gone. Minimum lifted off. But yeah, you might not ever mine from it again. So you really kind of have to keep that map control, which he's not super able to do right now. There's some more Radiates coming up, getting that Defiler. So that is something. Gets a single Plague down on that high energy vessel. The 5th base has been started by Hero. Obviously not something Sock can allow to have happen. Yeah, these very small groups getting eaten up very, very quickly. Trying to utilize some spells, but again, the supply is just so low. Little crackling ultra attack here into the 3rd. Don't forget the main and natural are both mined out for Sock. He is trying to expand to the 12 o'clock position, but doesn't really have SCVs there as of yet. So this is his only mining base that he's lifting off. Battle cruisers will help out a little bit, I guess, but he doesn't have anything really forward doing damage. His vessel's still just kind of floating down here. Hopefully does not end up losing those on their way back. Ooh, a couple more vessels go down. I think we're going to see a GG here in a second. Hero is looking completely poised to take this 2-0 over Sock. Sock trying to pull something together. Of course, we've all seen this position a lot of times. Terran has almost no units walking around. No real control on the map. And the Ultraling just continually comes out and attacks everywhere. More bases going up for Hero during all of this as well. You know, Sock has definitely had great upgrades throughout this game, and you can see those kind of shining still. But GG is called, and Hero advances to the ASL. All right, we're going to go into Group F here of the ASL qualifiers on day 1. Taking a look at the bracket, Haya made it through this top part of the bracket. Haya, the old school Terran player. He went through Teja. No, that's not the old Teja from StarCraft 2. He went through Mulso, most likely here, because I don't know who that is. Mulso is a pretty strong Protoss player, but like he's like a 2600 maybe, like not quite of ASL level. Looking down here, this is 9 Drone. Or like 9 Drone is yeah, he just only does Mutalisk Micro. That's it. Lee J Min, I don't know who this is, or Min J. Yeah, I'm not sure who that is. Shine, of course, a big name. I would have liked to see what happened in here, but someone made it up to Haya and lost. Sorry again, they did not send any of the stuff. I have to pull what I can get. But yeah, so I'm not sure what happened in here, but unfortunately, Shine is not going to be making it through on day 1. Big upset if he doesn't make it through 2 seasons in a row. I still really love Shine's play, so that's a little bit sad. But yeah, Zerg versus Zerg, a ton of it in here, and it did not work out. Haya ended up beating whatever Zerg came out of there. Looking down at the bottom part of the bracket, Rush makes it through, no big surprise. One of the most successful Terrans in ASL. And it looks like we had Hyuk and Noob going up to here. I would imagine that Hyuk probably made it all the way up. He is a little bit stronger, in my opinion, than Noob's Protoss versus Zerg. Down here, we had Mook and Togepi, and yeah, they aren't well known at all. And so an easy one for Rush. Honestly, looking at the overall bracket, the really strong players are Haya, Rush, and Shine. Right? Like Noob is good, Hyuk is good. These other guys are not players that I would expect to be in ASL almost no matter what brackets that you give them. So yeah, there were some strong players, but not overall the most deadly bracket. So we're going to be going into Haya against Rush, and Rush, I would say, is heavily favored here. Haya is very smart, okay? He is like a very intelligent player overall, but he just mechanically isn't on the same level as someone like Rush. Rush, yeah, I think Rush I would favor against almost everyone in the world. So I think it's going to be very Rush favored, but we'll go ahead, get into it, and see how that goes. Okay, we have in the bottom right Haya, and in the top left we have Rush. So, you know, it's cross spawn here. Radion, of course, our first map. The opening builds could be kind of interesting. I think Rush might just do something kind of safe, kind of middle of the road, like maybe just a fast factory expansion. Just because I think he is so much better than Haya. like, I don't mean to throw shade at Haya. I think he's like, he's made like a lot of guides for Terran over the years, and he's a pretty liked pro overall. And I think he did make 1 to 2 ASLs out of the 20 seasons, but Rush is like significantly better. Like, this is a bit of a mismatch. I think Rush would have had a harder time against any of those Zergs from the top of the bracket. So that's like a great win for Haya. You know, maybe Haya's a little bit better than I'm giving him credit for. Like, I haven't casted any of his games in a little bit. But the thing is, he's been floating around the same level for a really long time now. So I would be pretty surprised if he made huge headway and like really upped his rank amongst the Terran players. But let's see. And, you know, Terran versus Terran is definitely a matchup where being at like maybe a strategical advantage could make a big difference. Like, you don't necessarily need to macro as well as your opponent. Like, you know, if you have a decent opening and you can get up to 150 supply, it's almost impossible to kill you. So yeah, it could be still a very decent match between the two, but I would very much be surprised if Rush did not take him down. So right now it looks like factory expansion for both sides. Should be thrown on that factory in just a matter of seconds here. It looks like we do have a faster factory there for Haya. Actually, not much of a surprise there since he has the right side mineral patches. Those do boost a little bit quicker than the left-hand side. So generally you can get, if you both do a similar quality of mining, you're going to get 3 or 4 seconds discount on the right side, I find, for factories. So that factory coming up, the thing is, it's cross spawn anyways, so not like it's going to make too much of a difference. Couple Marines walking out and helping to scout. That was a forward 11 racks from Rush. So that can sometimes help you to put on a little bit of pressure. And in fact, he has an SCV and 2 Marines coming in at the same time. So there's a little bit of potential that he might be able to do something to these 2 Marines. Pulls away immediately when he sees them. But those Marines will pull up the ramp as well. Rush has an opportunity to make his... Woo! Okay, not a bad volley right there. Interesting. He kind of switched what he was targeting quite a few times there. So that was definitely better microed for Haya, without question. Like, you can actually kill that with the SCV if you micro it. Oh, it was a very low one. But he has, yeah, he has that vulture coming out, so still completely fine. Okay, so the command center actually gets up quicker for Haya there as well. Yeah, that was kind of funny, seeing Rush kind of miss micro a little bit. He, like, targeted the SCV at the beginning of that battle, then targeted a Marine. It's like, well, you can't really do it that way, because if your opponent just targets your Marines, his Marines are going to end up winning. But yeah, both sides getting some vultures. They both go 2 into add-on, which in this situation looks perfect to me. When you're cross-spawn from each other, like, if you're close spawn, sometimes you need to go to 4. But in in close spawn, sometimes you need to go to 4 vultures to really be safe. But yeah, they go cross. Both sides going for a starport here. That's kind of interesting. I'm actually thinking back now. I think they both kind of started that without knowing exactly what the builds were on both sides, for sure. One thing to mention is that the Terran vs. Terran meta about 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago took a huge shift where there's like a new 2-factory build that Light made a guide of, and it completely infested the ladder. And we're talking people are beating opponents that are 600 MMR above them with it. It's insane. It is one of the craziest builds ever. I casted at least 1 or 2 games very recently of it. But yeah, that kind of became the meta. Now, I traveled for EWC, so I was kind of outside of the StarCraft 1 meta and working only on StarCraft 2 for about 2 weeks. So there might be an answer to it now, like see the starports. It might have something to do with that. That's why I wanted to bring it up. Is it would make sense that you would open with a factory expansion, go directly into starport as an attempted counterplay. But it's 1 starport here for Haya and 2 for Rush. Yeah, I really do wonder that, actually. This is actually like a little gap in my knowledge that I normally don't have. It's like literally only 1 time a year do I take a significant amount of time. Oh, wow, he got the Wraith. That's crazy. Only 1 time a year do I take more than like a day or 2 off of StarCraft 1, and that's when I'm doing the EWC StarCraft 2 World Championship. Like I don't pollute my brain trying to think about 2 StarCrafts at once there. But yeah, this is like the one little gap in my knowledge that hopefully I'll be able to fill in while I'm casting this tournament, because the build was so strong. So anyways, Rush right now does have the Wraith advantage. He has the 2 port. He's going up into Academy. What a wild world it would be if like Wraith builds actually just become completely normal now because of that 2 factory build. That would be truly astonishing. It's just been so long since just straight Wraith openers were considered good. Like there's definitely 1 port, 1 factory builds that are good, but yeah, it's a bit different. Okay, Haya is moving out. He's trying to push this back. Now, when it's 1 port against 2 port, the 2 port player has a huge advantage. Rush has very few factory units because he's spending so much money on the 2 star ports and all that production and getting his scanners up. Now, there's an armory for Haya. So Haya's going up to 4 factory. The funny thing here is that the way Haya is playing is actually kind of the way that I would play in this position and the way that I enjoy to play in this position. But when I look at the position as a commentator here analyzing this, Rush's position's better, because the Wraiths are giving him a lot of flexibility. He's going to force the scans out, and he's going to make just enough siege tanks that he doesn't die. So I'm looking at this position. I do think that Rush's position is better, even though we're up 4 workers here on Haya's side, and he's got 4 factories against 1 factory. All of that, when you say all that, it really sounds like he's winning. But watch what these Wraiths can get done. So he's going to kill off a couple SCVs that are building depots here. Already very, very annoying. Yeah, the Cloaked Wraiths actually just giving so many problems there in the center of the map as well. Going after the SCVs. He is going to be able to kill a lot of SCVs. And during this time, Rush will start adding a lot of factories. You can see that he is starting to get way ahead as far as the worker count goes. Yeah, going to be able to fly out pretty quickly as that scan goes down. No Goliath range. Not enough Goliaths either. Oh, that's a great kill. Siege tank gets picked off. Picking off a few workers here and there. Still utilizing that cloak. He's going to run out on a couple of these pretty soon. Even targeting down one of the Goliaths. Really painful position here for Haya. As someone who plays this type of position a lot that Haya's playing, I got to tell you, that is one of the more frustrating things that can happen is Wraiths just killing everything that hits air before you get your scan off. So a lot of Goliaths being made, but as you can see, already he's been slowed down a lot. So even though he's making all these Goliaths and he has like more siege tanks, even though like he lost some there, Rush has more than enough to hold it all off. And in fact, he is well up in workers now as well because he killed so many of Haya's. So the position for Haya is pretty bad right now, but this is a matchup where you really can recover from crazy positions. You just get some sort of positional advantage, or even just the defender's advantage. It's like, okay, well, he's not really able to attack me if I siege up in the right location type of thing. Now, that line of siege tanks is so strong. There is no reason why you would try to break that. He placed them just right, so you would have to come down the ramp to get in range, in which case you won't have a high ground advantage. So basically perfectly set up by Rush. Haya sets up outside. Haya is taking a faster third base, which is kind of nice. Now, that being said, I'm not so sure that he's going to be able to get it to finish. Those vultures rotating out. Okay, he does not actually try to dive on it at all. Instead, dives into the main base here with these Wraiths. All right, picks off a Goliath. Yeah, picks off quite a few SCVs in here. He is going to slow that base a little bit more as well. Just getting so much value off of these Wraiths. Single Goliath tries to come back to defend. That's not going to work. Yeah, kills off the engineering bay SCV. And you can kind of see how worthless Haya's position is becoming. Not only is he down 20 workers right now, but look at his siege spot. See this? There's no actual value there. The only value that I see for that position is like he kind of is threatening a denial on the third base, the natural third base that Rush has in that top left. But look at Rush, just extend his siege line downwards and expand to 9 o'clock. It's just there's those tanks and Goliaths are doing almost 0 for Haya. And in fact, Rush probably should just unsiege everything, walk up and kill it. Or even counterattack. Because, like, look at this. More units going up there. Again, worthless position. You're not gaining anything there. Haya truly needs to pull those units back. Haya brings a big line of siege tanks down. Rush going to siege a few of these and then rotate the vultures. That's a totally fine play, I think. Okay, and finally he pulls his army back. That's a very important moment in this game. Okay, the vulture's going to go ahead and hit into this third base. It's very SCV light at the moment. Does do a couple offensive mines. A good move here from Haya. Going to kill off a few of these tanks. Ugh. Very, very painful. Lots of SCVs going down right now as well. And Haya looks like he might be able to deny the space. So this is definitely a good moment for him. Even though he's losing a lot of SCVs back at home, you can see his economy is really in shambles. 36 workers to 61. Mass Wraith has been built up. I actually did not even recognize that that was occurring. But against just 2 Goliaths, I think what's about to happen, because he's killed so many SCVs, is the Wraiths fly in, kill all this. Haya's just going to GG. There's nothing left from here. You can't even save these tanks. There's too many Wraiths. You just shift-click every single tank, and they will all fall. Yeah, you hear the mass scans. I think we'll see GG here from Haya. GG, Rush wins game 1. Okay, sorry. As soon as I said that Rush wins game 1, I recognize. Oh, the map was Pulsar. That was actually game 3. So Rush has advanced over Haya with a 2-1 map score and will be in the ASL. Okay, we're gonna jump into Group J here, and this is not the finals match. And you're gonna see the 2 names popping up immediately here. Nada. Jaedong. Literally can't get anything more hype than this. So as you guys who have followed my channel definitely know, Nada had a little 2500 MMR challenge for himself, and he got it in like 120 games. He went from being pretty inactive as far as competitive play goes to 2500 MMR. And he will go up and face against Jaedong, who still is one of the strongest Zergs out there. Like, yeah, he's not quite Sulky level or something, but Jaedong has had a few, like, in the ASLs, he's been a top 5 Zerg in ASL for a while now. Without question. It doesn't matter if you like that or don't like that, because he does end up losing kind of one-sidedly occasionally to a player like Light from last season, but Jaedong is very, very good and has been performing actually quite well. And he's going to play Nada, so that's amazing. And that's a semifinal match, so not already getting into the semifinals. Now let's just take a look at the bracket, just because this is the first time we're seeing it. Okay, so Bishop playing Protoss, lost to Motive. Okay, so Motive obviously has been one of the strongest Protosses for a while. Bishop, this is interesting. Now, obviously there's a small chance that he didn't play Protoss, and this is reported incorrectly, but Bishop played random before Flash. Terran players sometimes stop playing Terran because they hate Terran versus Protoss so much. So that's why Bishop went to random. We've seen it before. Light actually switched to Protoss for a season of KSL, and he actually got 1 map away from getting into KSL back then. But that happens sometimes. But obviously, you should not be favored against one of the world's best Protoss players with Protoss. So Bishop does fall there. A little bit sad to see. Looks like Sue and Motive played, and Motive was able to win. So sorry, second place Sue, not going to make it through. Harangi played against Terror. Terror is a very well-known Korean streamer. He was a pro as well. He's still very good. But yeah, Harangi's like a not completely regular in ASL. I would say one of the weaker guys that gets in. But he gets in enough that it's like, well, we know Harangi, and we're not too surprised. Park Jun Hyuk. Oh, I know this ID. I know this name. It'll come to me. Maybe it's Promise or something. I can't quite remember, but okay, I'll figure out who that is later. But yeah, Nada was able to take this Protoss out 2-1, so that's pretty strong. Our Ming. I've seen this guy before, I think, but I can't completely place it. But anyways, Jaedong makes it through. Okay, so a pretty exciting bracket, actually. Nada versus Jaedong and Motive versus Harangi. I would say that this is a Jaedong favored bracket. If Nada wins, it's unbelievably amazing, especially considering both Motive and Harangi are pretty dangerous in the matchup. Harangi is a very strong macro-oriented Protoss. Motive is a little bit more technical with Protoss, so I think a little bit easier to beat TVP, but better at the other matchups than Harangi. So I'm not sure who will come out of there, but I'm just saying if Nada is able to beat Jaedong, which in and of itself would be amazing. Either way, Nada versus Jaedong. Let's see it. Okay, we have in the bottom left, Nada. And in the top left here, we have Jaedong. This is Radeon, so it is game number 1. I'm just so excited that Nada is taking this seriously and playing in the qualifiers. If he makes it through, he'll be by far the oldest player ever in ASL, which is pretty exciting. He has been in an ASL in the past, so I guess he already holds this title. But you know, you guys might remember when he was in ASL that one season. He played Larva and had Larva dead with a nuke rush, and he just barely, the nuke was like 1 second from falling and winning the game, and Larva was able to snipe the ghost. So, and there's actually plays that Nada could have done that, like, I've actually used his specific nuke rush a lot of times since then, and one of the things I found is if you just put the vessel over the ghost, then the ghost can't be killed, basically. They don't have enough time. But just a tiny mistake, and he barely didn't eliminate Larva, which would have been legendary, because Larva ended up being an ASL champion. Not that season, but a few later. But yeah, Nada has been practicing. He's looking quite good. I've casted a ton of his games on the channel. If you want, definitely go back and look at those if you haven't seen those as of yet. But yeah, Nada is expanding right now, and Jaedong just with the hatch into the pool and gas coming up. Runs into that SCV and sees what's what. I'm really excited to see Nada against Jaedong. I casted so many Nada games that, like, he plays a very aggressive Terran vs. Zerg style from the games that I was able to see of him. I wonder if he'll play like that. I feel like that plays into Jaedong's hands a little bit. Jaedong is specifically weak to heavy macro. Like really good mechanical play where you just maximize the amount of Marine medic that you have. That's what Jaedong really seems to be weak to. He's much better against aggressive plays or technical plays where his micro and decisiveness makes a big difference. Not that those don't help in the other situations, but like you have to be mechanically really robust in the other situations, which I feel like is where Jaedong is lacking just slightly right now. But whatever you may say, you know, Jaedong, for instance, was the only player 2 seasons ago from Zerg to make it into the round of 16. Last season, he made it round of 8 and ended up losing to Light, which was the worst matchup in the round of 8 for him. I said it going in. I'm like, this is going to be really one-sided, really sad. And yeah, Light just completely smashed because Light has exactly the style. If I had to bet all my money on something, it would be on that style beating Jaedong, and Light is the best at that style. So it makes perfect sense. Okay, so nothing too weird as of yet. Nada mining quite a bit of gas. Is this a One Rack's Academy rush? I actually was not paying super close attention, just trying to set the stage, but it looks like on the mini-map that an academy is being made. I think that's what I'm seeing. Okay, so that... Oh, my bad. That was a depot. Okay, so he actually is going for a fast factory here. So kind of a technical play. That's interesting. My best guess here is that this will be a Valkyrie rush. Yeah, like if you look at the amount of Marines made, it wouldn't make sense that this would be any sort of mech play. You would make the very minimum amount of Marines if you want to do mech play. So probably what will happen is he'll have a Valkyrie out on about the second pass of the mutas coming in for harassment. So not a terrible idea. Of course, it could be something else as well. Like, you know, there is a range of things you can do here. That's an engineering bay going up. And he'll probably start an academy pretty... What? Is that a second factory? Oh, I think he's making a second factory. Flash has been doing a fair amount of mech lately against Zerg. So Nada might have looked at that. Like, Nada definitely looks to Flash for what he should be doing, I think. I've seen them speak in the past about that type of thing. Oh, it's a starport. Okay, Okay, I'm getting too ahead of myself here. But he has an add-on. I think that's what made my brain click, because I don't see why you would get an add-on here. So now my guess is it's still Valkyrie Rush, but I guess he wants to do something with vultures as well. And +1 on the way. Yeah, it has to be a Valkyrie Rush. There has to be an armory coming up very shortly. So yeah, I don't know. This doesn't look like a highly optimized build. Vulture speed on the way. Like, is your idea to make enough missile turrets that they don't see that you're going for Vulture? Is it supposed to be a Vulture drop? What? Just everything about this feels a bit off. I think Jaedong is about to show us what the difference between 2500 and ASL round of 8 is. Yeah. It's really starting to feel like that. He flies in and already sees vultures just sitting there. Like, and they have speed. Look at this. He sees the starport. Oh, man. This is not good for Nada right now. This is not good at all. Okay, the vultures with speed run out. He definitely can't rely on a drop working anymore. But plenty of Zerglings up there. A Sunken as well. Hard to imagine these vultures getting much done. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so 4 kills and a little bit of lost mining time. Okay, well, oh, Jaedong actually kind of fumbles the mutas there for a moment and loses an extra to those missile turrets. So that's good for Nada, at least. There is the Valkyrie out now, finally. Still really hating this position. This position for Nada looking really, really garbage. He did kill an Overlord. So the Valkyrie actually went out and immediately killed an Overlord because the mutas were a bit out of position. Ling's trying to run by here for Jaedong. Oh, gosh. He's got to fly away over these turrets. Okay, really good Valkyrie micro. That was actually an excellent Valkyrie micro. Oh, loses one. 24 drones against 43 SCVs. So that is one way in which Nada's position is still okay. Definitely needs a lot more missile turrets. It feels like he could die at any moment if Jaedong attacks the right spot. Bunch of barracks on the way. Barracks are feeling a little bit late. Jaedong diving into the natural here once again. Going after a few SCVs. Hydralis Den going up in the natural. +1 is done for Nada, so that's something at least. He's still got a really good SCV count. That's an important thing. I'm surprised that Jaedong didn't. I kind of felt like, because he's normally pretty aggressive and pretty decisive. Okay, well, I was literally going to say I'm surprised he didn't try to do that. That's exactly what I was about to bring up. I'm like, he's actually being more timid with the mutas. Normally, against this type of play, Jaedong dives in and tries to resolve the game very quickly by killing off the Valkyries. Because now it's like, okay, well, you've lost 3 Valkyries. Where's your push-out timing? Does it exist? I don't think it exists. Flying in once again, going to harass. This game, look, I love Nada, and I want Nada to qualify more than you could ever know. I love it when older players do well in esports. Being an older player myself, I want to see success as people age. You don't have to age out of these games. I really do feel like that's the case. But what we are seeing in this game is, like I said in the beginning, one of the absolute best players in the world, Jaedong, playing against someone that's about 2500 MMR. And 2500 is really good. Like, there's no question that Nada is very good at the game right now, but there are levels to this game, and Jaedong is showing that Nada needs some more work. Like, he is mangling him so far. He was even playing like kind of low drone there for a little bit, but it was totally fine because all the tempo was in his favor. He was abusing every single thing that Nada did wrong. Now he's making lurkers. He's got 3 bases up, in complete control of this game. And by the time we have enough Valkyries out to do anything here, enough bio to do anything here, there's going to be lurkers all over the place. And you got to switch into vessels anyways. So a lot of lurkers coming up. I think the proper play here is to just set up a containment. Like, even if your opponent pushes out with siege tanks, you have the opportunity to unburrow and run back. Maybe you lose 1. Yeah, there is a single siege tank, single vessel, single Valkyrie. We've got the A team over here of Terran units. Unfortunately, Mr. T here is a single tank, and that's not going to do it for him. It's a lot of lurkers there to try to push back. The army of Nada pretty small right now. He actually has an excellent SCV count. That is the only really redeeming thing I see for Nada right now is his SCVs are great. So he's got that economy. Oh, that's a great move from Jaedong. Runs up, burrows. He's going to blow up both of these tanks. There's just no saving them. That's the type of move that happens when you're in this position of Nada. And you might be thinking to yourself, okay, maybe I can get over and do some damage with this and make this game go on and find a way through. But when you lose your first 2 siege tanks, if you lose your first 2 siege tanks, it should be because you just traded for 8 lurkers near their natural. Not because they ran up and burrowed as you were sieging. Nada gonna try to push out once again. I think it's a bit too little, a bit too late. All right, another well, the first Dark Swarm goes down. Just going to run these lurkers up. This game is over. Not OVGGing here momentarily. So Jaedong going to take game number 1 here against Nada. Really exciting to see Nada playing, and in fact, getting the top 4 in a qualifier is no joke. I couldn't identify exactly who that was that he was playing against right now. I'll try to check that later, but GG! All right, so a little update. Nada did end up losing to Jaedong 0-2. I don't think to anyone's surprise. We aren't going to be able to see the second game, unfortunately. Instead, we're going to jump over to Group J. And this one is going to be the finals of Ride Sky against Stork. And that's kind of an exciting match. Let's take a look at this bracket. So first off, the big story here is JYJ falling in the round of 4 to Ride Sky. That in and of itself, I don't think is the most surprising thing. I'm actually really happy for Ride Sky, who looks like he took down, so Iron is MC from StarCraft 2, who was very strong in Brood War before he went to StarCraft 2. And we're going to assume that he went up here since we don't know who this guy is. So Ride Sky taking out MC is pretty big. Bako, I did hear that he was back, but I think I might have casted one of his games or something, or one I thought was his recently, but I haven't really paid too much attention. Haven't seen him too much. But Ride Sky making it up here to the round of 4 and then beating JYJ, who's a former champion and a very strong Terran player. That bodes very well for Ride Sky. I'm actually really happy for him. I love JYJ. I love his style, but Ride Sky has been like a top ladder Terran for 8 years. Not joking. Like, he basically, since Remaster came out, I found out who Ride Sky was very quickly. He's been ranked so high. He's been trying so hard for so long and hasn't made ASL yet. Definitely one of these guys that's been on the brink for a long time. So it's very cool to see him making the finals. Down here, Stork doing a great job. Obviously, we don't really see anything here. This is true. And obviously, Hun is very strong. We're going to assume BTS True came up here. Hyun beat him. For Stork to win PVZ against Hyun, I think that's pretty legit. Hyun is in good shape right now. He's been looking very good. So that's a strong PVZ win for Stork. And I think that Stork's PVT is, I think 2 seasons ago, it was the best in the world. Or maybe second. Like, maybe you can still put Snow up there. But, like, Stork had some damn good Protoss versus Terran. So to see him going up against Ride Sky, I think that is a good match for Stork. But Ride Sky is clearly playing well if he already took down JYJ. So we're going to get into this. This is going to be the last match on this first half of day 1 of the ASL 20 qualifiers. So yeah, let's get into it. Okay, we are in map 2 here on Metropolis. Ride Sky in the bottom left and Stork over there in the bottom right. Stork does lead 1-0 in this match so far. So yeah, let's see if Ride Sky can maybe take this map on Metropolis and bring us to a game number 3. Would be very nice to see. You know, I already mentioned that I think that Stork is probably favored a bit here. Well, I mean, obviously, he's done so much in his career. He is not someone that really chokes. And Ride Sky, I think, is someone that really actually chokes. He's such a monster on the ladder. And we just haven't seen him be able to make it in to ASL. You know, a lot of other Terrans have kind of passed him by and had some great success. So, I want Stork in ASL because I think he makes the tournament better in a way that few players do. He's just like a very fun player to have there, personality-wise, prestige-wise, and game-wise as well. But I do want to see the up-and-coming players be successful. And the fact that you've been a top ladder player for 7-8 years, everyone knows who you are, and you just can't make it in. You know, I want to see that rectified. I want to see his career move forward in a meaningful way, which is exactly what an ASL qualification can do for you. You know, people like me, and maybe you guys that are watching this channel every day, we know who Ride Sky is because we're hardcore. But like, if you look at the more general population that are tune in for things like ASL, maybe occasionally hit up a stream of a top player, something like that. It's a little bit of a different story. You know, he's just this ladder guy. He's just a random barcode that other pros are playing on the ladder that might win, might lose. So, yeah. I think anyone that works that hard, I always want to see a level of success gained. Whether, you know, do I think that Ride Sky will ever be a champion? No. I mean, whatever happens, happens, but when people work hard, I love to see that kind of pay off, especially when they're close like this. You know, it's not that he doesn't have the skill to make it. Like, his actual level is enough that eventually he should get through a bracket. Like, eventually you've played enough brackets and you'll kind of just grind your way out. Anyways, the first Zealot is poking in. This is a gasless expansion from Rise High. Ooh, takes a hit on that. Oh, no. Takes 2 hits on the Marine. That's way more sloppy. Oh, dude, he's not microing well. Oh, come on. Yeah. Oh, Stork almost got that Marine, actually. He brought the probe down. I think it was just out of range. Probe has longer range than a lot of units. Oh, no. So, this is very sad. Because this is, like, B-rank micro that we're seeing out of Ride Sky. Oh, man. This is, like, really... This is a heartbreaker. Everyone has been in these exact positions, and Ride Sky more than most with how many ladder games he plays. That was not his best micro. And I never even think of him as a micro player. He's definitely a mechanical, like a macro-based type of guy that's just really good at making a lot of units. But that was some poor micro. Whereas with Stork here, you see he's microing very well. He's moving shot with the Zealot over and over. Look at the amount of damage he's dealing. This is just... This, I think what we're seeing is Ride Sky panicking a little bit. Oh, man. Okay, he pushes Stork back finally. He's down 3 workers after all of that. Oh. And he made so many Marines. Look how late the factory is. Stork looks like he's getting ready maybe for a third Nexus. Stork's Nexus is very late, so we should point that out. Stork is very, very late on his Nexus. That is natural. And whether or not he wants to instantly take a third base, we'll find out shortly. Range is on the way, so he's at least going to put some pressure on here. Second factory coming up before Ride Sky. He can't be happy with how that opened, though. He's down 0-1 and not having a good first part of the game. The opener did not go the way he wanted. If you block that really well, imagine how far ahead you could be right now. Just better micro on the Marines against the initial Zealot and Probe. But he took 2 hits immediately, then he got sandwiched and didn't bring his SCVs into the right positions for blocks. All that stuff. Stork right now putting some pressure onto this bunker. Robo after that Nexus. So there is the third Nexus being made. Stork knows exactly how to get the most out of these positions. This is why I was saying he was one of the best PvT players a few seasons ago. I was casting and watching a lot of Stork games back then, and his understanding of how to take a position and get the most out of it was better than everyone's, in my opinion. Whereas you'd have people like, for instance, Snow. He would like control his way to getting further and further ahead, and then you have someone like Best who might macro his way to getting better and better ahead. And then you look at the way that Stork plays, and it's like, oh, decision-wise, these are the highest level decisions you can make. Like, the theory behind them is basically perfect, and he's showing that here a little bit. Okay, cancels out a missile turret, and then restarts it on the side. Dude, he's actually panicking so bad. Is that a missile turret you just started on the side? I believe it is. That is the biggest panic move. I can tell you because I've panicked before. Like when you start a missile turret, then you look and you're like, that's just not the right spot. This won't hit a shuttle coming through. I mean, you have to cancel it and put it back in the other spot. Yeah, see where it was and where it is now? That is a panic moment. Ride Sky is not playing his best StarCraft right now. And he has to fix it. That's not the thing. It's the placing it poorly the first time. The amount of Terran vs. Protoss games this guy plays a week, like that first turret should just be placed correctly. Okay, he's going to try to scout with these 2 speed vultures. Stork's got a nice wall of Dragoons, so can't really get past there. Nice wall of pylons. Well, I shouldn't call it nice. It's literally just a wall of pylons. There's nothing to that, but you know, the vultures can't get in. Observer's coming out. He is on 4 gate right now. And the reason why he's gone up to 4 gate is because he went for that third Nexus instantly off of like 3 Dragoons. So that's kind of the nod towards if you attack, I could have been in trouble, but with this 4 gate observer, I can't be in trouble. It doesn't matter what Ride Sky did after that opener, Stork won't die because of this build. So Stork has basically made himself invincible. Some good mine laying. I actually quite like how Ride Sky's doing his mines. A few mines up towards the top right, especially checking those bases. Some mines on the sides where shuttles might come into play. His supply is pretty significantly lower, down 20 supply. So that's about 10 army units less. Worker count, very similar. Okay. Oh, just barely loses that second vulture. Huge difference if he doesn't. Let's see how much damage he can get done. Oh, a misclick there as well. Clicks the pylon instead of the probe. Oh, man. Just doesn't get anything done with those. This was a gasless expansion, by the way. And he's getting factories. Like, his 4th factory is making at 9 minutes. Just finished at 9 minutes. Not the best. Not the best. Like, if you do a gasless expansion opener, you should be adding up to 5 factories, like getting up to 5 factories minimum, and easily 8 if you hit everything. You can do something like at 7 minutes and 30 seconds. to add those additional factories. So like his overall unit production is going to be a little bit lower than where it could have been at otherwise. But there's definitely some defendable positions on Metropolis. Like you can defend that kind of little middle choke area really well against Protoss running in. Although a lot of games in these positions turn into shuttle plus speed zealot plus Dragoons just barging into your third base over and over and over and making it hard for you to come up that ramp and hold it. Temporal Archives coming up, so no Psy Storm for a little while at least. Couple Speed Vultures going up towards that top right. Let's see if you can... they get picked off as well. I was going to say, we'll see if we can deny that probe up there, but doesn't look like that's going to be the case. All right, setting up a wall. So he's kind of like a step ahead, Ride Sky is, as far as the aggression that Stork could have done. Like, with this army that Stork has now, if you were trying to come up and take that third base right now, you could make that really hard. But it seems like Ride Sky got everything in place beforehand. So that's really, really good. 76 SCVs. This is where you see Ride Sky's mechanics really coming into play. 76 SCVs at 11 minutes is unheard of. That's crazy talk. I'm actually in shock that he has 76 SCVs. Man, that's more than you ever need in the whole game. That's a Terran versus Terran number. But good for him. He really is macroed out of this. He just needs to hold on. He has no mines laid and no buildings in the way. So this could be a little bit gross. He's unsieges. Yeah, maybe. There's so many speed zealots getting in. This is a heartbreaker. Stork is just going to bowl him over. He was starting to fight back with his really, really superior mechanics, but that's not going to be enough. Look at Stork losing all sorts of stuff, but doesn't matter. He got himself into such a winning position, just breaking through absolutely everywhere. Ride Sky down 40 workers. He's lost like almost 20 SCVs during this. Oh. Stork setting up 2 more bases, so he's going to have 5 bases very shortly here. Yeah. So Ride Sky, like, there's a little bit of play left here, but not very much because it is going up to 5 bases. Psystorm is going to be here. So the tech of Stork is now going to be better than it was before. And he's going to be on 5 base economy instead of 3, playing against a 3 base economy. And it's going to be a solid 3 base. He's got 61 SCV. So it's not like his economy is shattered or anything. It's still a playable economy. Doesn't have a lot of defense. Stork going to bomb in here. A couple speed shuttles. Going to try to break through those depots as well. Psystorm's on the SCVs. Okay, this is where it's getting even more dicey. Does break through that wall. Some Dragoons going to come up to help as well. Oof. And you can lose all of these goons. It doesn't matter all that much. Stork now almost at 70 workers. This is so funny. He sent a ton of probes to 4th base and nothing to 5th base. The 5th is sitting there, completed Nexus for days, and it's not mining. Okay, finally he's going to send some additional probes up. But Ride Sky might be able to catch some. Has a few vultures going up. It looks like he's looking for some harassment. Not terrible. Not terrible. I kind of like it. Very red shuttle coming in for some zealot bombs. Yeah, I guess he's thinking better of it. Nothing really left to do there. Slips that vulture behind the mineral patches. Ton of probes going up to that 5th base. Stork. Yeah, looking real good here. Looking like he's in a very close to unbeatable position. But Ride Sky probably has one push in him. Because he's macroing well. Don't get me wrong there. He's macroing well. He's rebuilding his army. Does he have 3 add-ons, actually? I didn't notice last time we looked. We have to kind of assume he has 3 add-ons because he needs to refill that siege tank count that he lost. Yeah, double robo there from Stork looks good. Oh, I guess maybe we just had like a storm drop. So I only see 2 add-ons when we flicked past there. Factory count is not that high either. The supplies look okay-ish, especially when you take into consideration Stork has 20 more workers. And he does send out a dropship with a tank and a couple vultures, so maybe he can cause a bit of harassment. I feel like the tank and 2 vultures dropship needs to force some army to pull, and he needs to make a move during that time too, but I don't think his supply is high enough for the move yet. You have to assume that Stork is getting close to max, and he is. 173 is very, very close when you think about it. The main base generally has 8 to 12 gates, and then you make extra gates at the 5th. So when you have something like that, it's like, okay, we're about, probably 30 seconds or less from max. So it's like, okay, max against 150, that's no good. Not for attacking. For defending, it can be okay, but just in general, it's no good. Okay, the dropship trying to come in for some harass, gonna have to pull out. Little drop at this 3rd base. Going to be cleared up very quickly. Doesn't get much damage. Few probes. Now, like I said, normally you would want to pair that up with a move out, but is this move out really ready? Stork getting ready for what he knows is coming. Taking a 6 base there up at 12. Ride Sky, not quite ready to move out. I don't think it's a bad move to wait for max supply. It definitely ups your chances. Like, you need a very cost-efficient fight coming up here. Oh, Stork is just going to attack in. Okay. I don't think that that's very good, but we'll see if it works out for him. Okay, some decent drops. Get some big size storms onto those siege tanks, but overall you can see Ride Sky kind of crushes. So it goes from max to 160 to 140 against 100. So it's about 100 supply just falling from Stork, attacking into that position. Obviously not a great move. I think sitting in the arc, adding more production is probably the best play he could have done. Now, Ride Sky's going to move out. There's no other option here. He has to start moving right now. Now, do you start a base while you do this? I think you should. I think you should probably just throw up a Nexus somewhere. I mean, not a Nexus, but a command center. And obviously, going for some... Well, hold on. He's actually attacking so quickly here. Really forcing this engage to just kind of happen. Okay, pull that back. Pull that back. Psystorm's going to come out. Okay, not a bad pull up. Another nice storm onto those siege tanks. Some zealot bombs coming out. You can see the efficiency here is really good for Ride Sky. Like, he's doing a good job, but I think he will get whittled down. It just doesn't... I don't see any other way. Like, there's no vultures out in the front here. Another good Psystorm goes down. SCV's even coming up to fight. Double Psystorms cast. Morphin Archon and Siege... Or not Morphin Archon. He tried to, but wasn't able to do it. Siege tank range there. Trying to... Look at this. You're just really going after that Goliath to make sure his shuttles can keep doing their job. Stork does have quite a few units in this top right. He might want to think about bringing those down, but a little bit hard because if there's mines there, it's just going to be wasteful. Ride Sky making a game out of it. All right, DT just walking through everything. Okay. Shuttle comes down and will get popped by a single Goliath. Again, this army pretty darn small. Looks like a command center is actually floating from the main base to somewhere. Maybe towards middle to mine or up north. And I see there's actually like a bunch of rallies being blocked from SCVs that are long distance mining gas and minerals. So a little bit of an issue there, but yeah, Stork continues to try to break through. This is the most important thing going on in this game right now, is just whether or not this push can get all the way to the ramp. If you can get this up to the ramp, the game is actually still playable. It's just very tough right now. Getting these Reavers is nice. Yeah, pops the Reavers. And there we go. The command center going to land up at that fourth base. A single DT already waiting for him, which is going to be highly annoying since he only has 2 scanners. And has been using those a little bit over here. Very, very good Psy Storm. Yeah, the DT being highly, highly annoying. Has to even micro against it a little bit. What is left over here? Like nothing? Okay, as soon as you keep the pressure off, Stork is going to mass up so quickly. 90 to 146 right now. Stork is going to be maxed by the time Ride Sky gets 120. And that just means attack move kills you, wherever he goes. All right, little group of Zealots going into that fourth base. Trying to attack up here. I kind of get the idea because it's long distance. The mines help out in trying to get this to go and work. All right, all the units that have rallied up here will get sent down. GG is called. And that means that Stork will advance. All right, so to wrap up day 1, part 1 of the ASL 20 qualifiers, so far we have 6 players that have made it through. In Group A, we had Mini. In Group C, Paralyze. Group D, Soma. Group B, Hero. Group F, Rush, and Group E, Stork. So that's 3 Protoss, 2 Zerg, and a Terran making it through thus far. Definitely some great games so far. Some big names falling as well that I'm sure we'll see on the day 2. But tomorrow we will have part 2 of the day 1 qualifiers. So make sure you tune in. Thank you for watching. And just make sure to hit that subscribe button. It is very appreciated. Thanks, and we will see you tomorrow.